There is a radio, ancient and weathered, sitting in the center of a storm. Its purpose, its very design, is to receive a symphony playing from the edge of the universe, a melody of pure coherence and light. But it is surrounded by a tempest of chaotic winds and crackling lightning, and so all it broadcasts is static, a relentless, meaningless noise, a sound of profound disconnection. That radio is the human mind in the modern world, and the storm is the life you have been told to live. You feel it, don't you? A deep and persistent exhaustion, a sense that you are a battery being perpetually drained, your life force consumed by 1,000 silent demands, 1,000 flickering screens, 1,000 hollow promises. You run on a current that was never meant to sustain you, while a reservoir of infinite power, an ocean of serene energy, remains locked away, just behind the veil of the noise. We have come to believe that the secrets of power lie outside of ourselves, in accumulation, in striving, in becoming louder than the storm. But we have been looking in the wrong direction. The greatest secret of a man like Nikola Tesla was not hidden in his coils, his towers, or his schematics for the world. It was hidden in the way he perceived the world. He understood that you do not create energy, you do not invent power, you simply learn to listen for it. You learn how to tune your receiver to its frequency. This, then, is not a lesson in history. It is an act of decoding, an unraveling of the map he left behind, not a map to a physical device, but to the power plant that sits dormant within your own soul. So I invite you now to step out of the storm for a moment, to grant yourself this space of stillness. Let the winds of the world howl without you. Let us, together, turn the dial away from the static. Let us begin the delicate, sacred work of calibration, of tuning your inner radio, until we find the clear, silent channel where the signal of your true self is waiting to be heard. Before you can hear the symphony, you must first learn to recognize the static. Before you can tune to the signal, you must become intimately familiar with the nature of the noise. This noise, this incessant chatter in the theater of your mind, you have come to believe that it is you. You think you are the thinker of your thoughts. You believe you are the author of your anxieties, the architect of your worries. But you are not. You are the deep, silent awareness behind it all, the quiet listener who has forgotten its own nature and become lost in the broadcast. This broadcast is what I call the static of the soul. It is the relentless hum of the machine of the mind, left to run on its own without a conscious operator. It is a ghost in the machine, a program running on a loop, playing the same tired songs of yesterday's pains and tomorrow's fears. Listen to it now just for a moment. What does it say? It replays conversations from a week ago, dissecting every word, searching for hidden meanings, crafting clever replies you should have said. It projects you into a meeting that has not yet happened, rehearsing failure, anticipating judgment, building a fortress of defense against an imaginary attack. It whispers criticisms in your own voice, pointing out your flaws, reminding you of your inadequacies, comparing your journey to the curated illusions you see in the lives of others. It generates lists of tasks, worries about bills, concerns about health, a constant stream of low-grade, vibrational dread that saps your vitality more than any physical labor ever could. This is the static. It is not a sign of a broken mind. It is a sign of a mind that has been given a task it was never designed for, to be the master of the house. The mind is a superb tool, a magnificent instrument, but a terrible master. When left in charge, its only function is to perpetuate itself by constantly creating problems to solve, fears to manage, and scenarios to analyze. It sustains itself on the energy of your attention, the great inner conflict, the friction that creates so much heat and so little light in your life, is born from this misunderstanding. There is a part of you, a deep, ancient, and knowing part, that yearns for silence. It craves the clarity of a calm sea, the boundless peace of an empty sky. It knows, on a level deeper than words, that the answers you seek are not to be found in more thinking, but in less. This is your core self, your spiritual essence. It whispers to you in moments of profound beauty, in the space between breaths, in the sudden, inexplicable feeling of awe when you look at the stars. It is a quiet signal, a pure frequency. But then there is the other part, the habituated mind, the ego, It is terrified of silence. To the ego, silence is death. If the chatter stops, the ego fears it will cease to exist. And so it fights. It fights for its survival with the only weapons it has: more noise. The moment you decide to be still, it will scream its loudest. It will present you with the most urgent, compelling, and seemingly important thought. You can't relax now. You have to figure this out. What if you miss something important? This is boring. This is a waste of time. There are things to be done. It will dredge up a memory of an old shame or dangle a shiny new anxiety before you. It will do anything to keep the show going, to keep your attention hooked, to keep you identified with the noise. This is the war inside of you, a war between the longing for silence and the addiction to noise, a struggle between the soul's desire for presence and the mind's fear of absence. You try to force the silence. You try to wrestle the mind into submission, which is like trying to flatten a stormy ocean with a hammer. Every effort you make with the mind to defeat the mind is just more mind. It is more static, more struggle, another layer of complexity on top of the original noise. You cannot think your way to peace. You cannot fight your way to stillness. The very act of fighting is the noise itself. Herein lies the first great secret, the initial turn of the key. The message is not to destroy the noise. It is not to judge it or even to silence it. The first step, the only step you need to take right now, is to simply notice it, to recognize it for what it is, to observe it without entanglement. You must become the scientist of your own inner world, observing the phenomenon of thought without identifying with it. The static is not your enemy. Let this sink deep into your bones. The noise in your head is not a sign of your failure. It is a symptom. It is a distress signal from a part of you that is operating on old programming, a part that is running on fear. It is a lost child screaming in a crowded room, trying to get your attention. If you scream back at it, you only add to the chaos. If you ignore it completely, it will only scream louder. The path of wisdom is to turn towards it with a calm, detached curiosity. So let us propose a new practice, not a battle, but an observation. For 5 minutes today, find a place where you can be undisturbed. Sit down, close your eyes, and do nothing. Your only task is this: to listen to the radio of your mind. Do not try to change the station. Do not try to adjust the volume. Simply listen. When a thought arises, as it inevitably will, just notice it. Acknowledge its presence silently. Ah, there is a thought about work. There is a feeling of anxiety. There is a memory from childhood. Label it gently, as if you were a bird watcher identifying a bird. You are not the bird, you are the watcher. You are the space in which the bird appears and disappears. Do not follow the thought. Do not get on the train. A thought is like a cloud passing in the sky. Your habit is to leap onto the cloud and be carried away by it. Your new practice is to remain on the ground, as the sky, and simply watch the cloud drift by. It will come, it will have a shape and a color, and then it will dissolve, to be replaced by another. In the beginning, there will be many clouds, a sky full of them, a storm of them. This is normal. This is the mind's resistance. Do not be discouraged. The goal is not an empty sky. The goal is to realize that you are the sky, not the clouds. Your identity is the vast, unchanging, silent space of awareness, and the thoughts are merely temporary weather patterns passing through. Imagine your mind is a deep lake. For years, you have been throwing stones into it. Every worry is a stone. Every fear is a stone. Every judgment, every grievance, every obsessive thought is another stone, and another, and another. The surface of your lake is in constant turmoil, choppy and turbulent. The water is murky, filled with stirred-up sediment. You cannot see what lies in the depths. You cannot see the clear, pure water that is its true nature. When you try to find peace by thinking harder, you are just throwing more stones into the lake, hoping to calm the waves with more disturbance. It is an impossible task. The practice of observation is the act of deciding to stop throwing stones. You simply sit by the shore of your own being, and you watch. You watch the ripples that are already there. You watch as the waves from the last stone you threw slowly, gradually begin to subside. You do not force them to be still. You simply cease to add new disturbances. In this stillness, the sediment, the murkiness of years of habitual thinking begins to settle. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the water begins to clear. This is the great work. It is not glamorous. It is not a lightning bolt of enlightenment. It is the quiet, patient, and compassionate act of withdrawing your energy from the chaos and simply being present with what is. You are learning to distinguish the signal from the noise by first becoming a connoisseur of the noise. You are learning to find the silence not by chasing it, but by allowing it to emerge from behind the veil of sound. The static is not a barrier to the divine. It is the very path you must walk through, with awareness as your only guide. So listen. Listen without judgment. Listen with patience. And in that listening, you will begin to hear, for the first time, the profound and beautiful silence from which all true things are born. Having sat by the shore of your mind, having begun the practice of watching the ceaseless waves of thought without judgment, you might now begin to wonder, what is the source of this static? And more importantly, what is the nature of the ocean itself? The noise you have been observing arises from a fundamental illusion, a deeply ingrained belief that is the very cornerstone of human suffering. It is the belief that you are separate. You experience yourself as a solitary entity, a fragile ego encased in a body of skin and bone, standing apart from a world that is out there. You feel that you end where your skin ends, and the rest of the universe begins. This sense of separation is the root of all fear, for if you are separate, you can be threatened. If you are a lonely island, you can be overwhelmed by the vast, indifferent ocean. This feeling creates a constant, low-level vigilance, a need to protect, to defend, to accumulate resources, to build walls around your fragile sense of self. It is the source of conflict, of loneliness, of the desperate hunger for validation from others. It is the very engine that generates the static. Yet, deep within you, there is a dissenting voice, an ancient intuition. You have felt it in moments of profound connection, perhaps while holding a newborn child, standing in an old-growth forest, losing yourself in a piece of music, or looking into the eyes of someone you love. In these moments, the walls of the self seem to dissolve, and you taste a flicker of a forgotten truth, the truth of unity. This is the great conflict of the human heart. Your logical mind, trained by a materialist world, tells you that you are a biological machine, a collection of atoms, fundamentally alone. But your soul, your intuition, whispers of a hidden web of connection, a seamless fabric of existence in which you are an inseparable thread. You yearn to feel this unity, to live in this state of grace, but you are held captive by the habit of seeing yourself as a fragment. This is where we must turn to the wisdom of the visionary, Nikola Tesla. He once gave us a key, a master code to unlock a new way of seeing. He said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." This is not merely a poetic statement, it is a fundamental shift in perception. It is an invitation to look past the illusion of solidity and see the world as it truly is, a dynamic, living, vibrating ocean of energy. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you are, is not solid at all. At the quantum level, it is all dancing particles and waves of pure energy, each vibrating at its own unique rate, its own specific frequency. The chair you sit on appears solid only because its atoms are vibrating at a frequency that your senses interpret as solid. The light entering your window is energy vibrating at a different frequency. The sound of my voice is a vibration carried through the air. You are not a solid object moving through a dead, empty space. You are a vibrational field of energy interacting with a vast, intelligent, and interconnected universe of energy. Let this idea permeate your being. You are not a noun, you are a verb. You are not a thing, you are a process. You are a resonance. Your thoughts are not random, isolated events occurring inside your skull. Every single thought is a pulse of energy, a specific vibration that you broadcast out into the universal field. Every emotion you feel is a powerful wave of frequency that radiates from your being, affecting not only your own body but the very fabric of reality around you. Think of yourself as a musical instrument, The universe is a grand, cosmic symphony, playing a composition of infinite complexity and beauty. You are one of its unique instruments. The question is not whether you are playing music. You are always playing music. The question is, what tune are you playing? When you are consumed by the static of the soul, by fear, anxiety, resentment, or despair, you are vibrating at a low frequency. It is like playing a discordant, jarring, and painful note in the symphony. And, according to a fundamental law of the universe, the law of resonance, like attracts like. A low frequency will naturally attract and resonate with other low frequencies. When you are playing the note of lack, you will find yourself in situations that amplify the feeling of lack. When you play the note of fear, you will perceive threats everywhere. Your frequency creates your perception, and your perception reinforces your reality. You are not being punished. It is simply physics. A tuning fork vibrating at the note of C will cause another tuning fork at C to vibrate, but it will not affect a fork tuned to G. The world is not doing something to you, it is responding to the music you are broadcasting. Conversely, when you cultivate feelings of gratitude, love, compassion, and joy, you are raising your personal frequency. You are beginning to play a beautiful, harmonious note. This high frequency then begins to resonate with everything in the universe that is vibrating on a similar level. You start to notice beauty where you didn't see it before. You attract kind and supportive people into your life. Opportunities and synchronicities begin to appear, not by magic, but because you are now tuned to the channel on which they exist. You are bringing your instrument into harmony with the orchestra. Let us make this practical. This is not just a beautiful theory, it is an experiential reality. I invite you to conduct an experiment to practice what we can call feeling the frequency. For the next few days, become a student of vibration. Your laboratory is your own body, for your body is an extraordinary receptor of frequency. When you walk into a room, pause for a moment. Beyond what you see with your eyes, what do you feel? Does the space feel heavy, tense, or chaotic? Or does it feel light, peaceful, and welcoming? Do not try to analyze it with your mind. Just feel the raw sensation in your body. When you are speaking with a particular person, pay attention to how your body responds. Do you feel drained, contracted, and tired after the conversation? Or do you feel energized, expansive, and uplifted? The words they say are only one level of communication. The frequency they emit is a much deeper truth. Apply this to everything. Listen to different types of music. A piece of chaotic heavy metal creates a demonstrably different vibrational state in your cells than a serene piece of classical music or a sacred chant. Feel the difference. Notice what happens to your thoughts and your mood. Pay attention to the food you eat. Fresh, living food, like fruits and vegetables, carries a high, vibrant frequency. Highly processed, dead food carries a low, dense frequency. Notice how you feel after eating them. You are literally building your vibrational body out of the frequencies you consume. This practice of feeling the frequency is the beginning of conscious creation. It is the art of learning to discern which energies nourish you and which ones deplete you. It is the first step in consciously choosing the music you wish to play. You start to realize that you are not a victim of the world's discordant notes. You are a sovereign being with the power to choose your own frequency, regardless of the chaos around you. The universe, then, is not a collection of dead objects, but a single, living symphony. It is a chorus of vibrating energies, all interconnected, all influencing one another. You are not merely a listener to this symphony, you are one of its composers. Your thoughts, your feelings, your very state of being is your contribution to the whole. You are a note in the song of creation, and the profound truth, the secret that lies at the heart of this vibrational reality, is that you have the power to choose your note. You can continue to play the familiar, painful song of separation and fear, the static you have become so used to. Or you can begin, right now, to learn a new melody. A melody of harmony, of coherence, of love. A melody whose frequency aligns with the deepest truths of the cosmos, attracting to you all that is beautiful, all that is good, and all that is true. The orchestra is waiting. Your instrument is in your hands. It is time to learn how to play. You now understand that you are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe, a unique instrument in a cosmic symphony. This understanding is the key that opens the first gate. But as you stand in this new reality, a question naturally arises. If the universe is a broadcast of infinite energy and information, how do we receive it? What is the mechanism within us that can perceive this symphony and translate its music into the language of our lives? The answer lies in the most complex and misunderstood object in the known universe, the human brain. We have been taught to see the brain as a generator, a biological computer sealed within the skull that produces thoughts, in the same way a factory produces goods. We believe that inspiration, creativity, and problem-solving are processes of intense internal effort, of our brain thinking harder to forge a new idea out of nothing. This belief places an immense and exhausting burden upon us. It makes us feel that our own mind is a finite resource, a well that can run dry. It leads to the anxiety of the blank page, the panic of the unsolved problem, the burnout of the creator who feels they have lost their gift. We believe we are the authors of every thought, and so we take credit for the brilliant ones and feel crushing guilt for the dark ones. We live under the tyranny of being a lonely generator, forever responsible for producing our own light. This is where we must introduce another radical, liberating perspective, one that was central to the worldview of a mind like Tesla's, in the note. The brain is not primarily a generator. It is, first and foremost, a receiver, an exquisitely sensitive, biological antenna. Your brain does not create thought so much as it perceives thought. It does not invent inspiration from scratch. It tunes itself to the frequency of inspiration that already exists as a potentiality in the universal field. Think of a television. A television does not create the movie it displays. The movie exists as an invisible electromagnetic wave, a broadcast signal filling the air. The television is simply a complex receiver designed to capture that specific signal, decode it, and translate it into a form we can perceive pictures and sound. The television does not feel the pressure to come up with a new plot for the movie. Its only job is to be plugged in, turned on, and accurately tuned to the desired channel. Your brain is a television of divine technology, and the universe is broadcasting on an infinite number of channels, all at once. There is a channel for fear, a channel for despair, a channel for lack, and there is a channel for genius, a channel for unconditional love, a channel for profound peace, a channel for the solution to every problem you could ever face. The conflict, the inner struggle, arises from the ego's desperate need to be the creator, the source, the star of the show. Your ego wants to believe, I thought of that brilliant idea. I solved that complex problem. It clings to the identity of being the generator because this sense of authorship gives it a feeling of importance and control. But think back to your own moments of true insight, those eureka moments that changed everything. Where did they come from? Did they arrive when you were straining and struggling, forcing your mind to work? Or did they appear, as if by magic, in a moment of relaxation? Perhaps in the shower, on a quiet walk, or in that mystical space just before you fall asleep. In these moments, your analytical mind, your ego, had finally relaxed its grip. You stopped trying to generate an answer, and in that surrender, the receiver, that is your brain, was finally clear enough to pick up the signal that was being broadcast all along. You didn't find the answer found you. The ego wants to control the broadcast, while your true self simply knows how to listen. This understanding changes everything. It reframes your entire relationship with your mind and with the challenges of your life. It lifts the terrible burden of having to know all the answers. You do not have to create the solution from your own limited store of knowledge. Your task is not to generate, but to tune. So, how do we practice this? We begin by changing the questions we ask. When faced with a problem or a creative block, the old question, born of the generator model, is, how can I figure this out? What can I do? This question creates tension, stress, and a frantic search through the limited files of your past experience. The new question, born of the receiver model, is entirely different. You ask, quietly and calmly, what is the frequency of the solution? What does the feeling of this problem being solved feel like? And then you ask, How can I adjust my own inner state to become a vibrational match for that solution? How do I tune my receiver? The question shifts from aggressive doing to receptive being. The focus moves from the problem to the solution as an existing reality on a different frequency. Your work is not to build a bridge to the solution, but to calibrate your own energy until you are standing on the same shore as the solution. This is the true purpose of practices like meditation. We are often told that meditation is about clearing the mind or stopping thoughts. This is a misunderstanding that leads to immense frustration. Trying to stop thought with thought is like trying to grab water with your fist. The true purpose of meditation, in this context, is to calibrate your receiver. When you sit in stillness and focus on your breath, you are not fighting your thoughts. You are gently shifting your attention away from the loud, static-filled channels of the ego mind. You are turning the dial. You are letting the noise of your personal anxieties and ambitions fade into the background, creating the inner quiet necessary to perceive the more subtle, higher frequency broadcasts from the universal mind. Imagine your consciousness is a magnificent satellite dish. For most of your life, this dish has been pointed downwards towards the earth. It is focused on the dense, low-frequency concerns of survival, competition, daily worries, and past grievances. And so, the signals it receives are of a corresponding nature. It picks up the broadcast of struggle, of limitation, of fear. It receives the confirmation of its own limited beliefs day after day. But you have the power to reorient this dish. Through your intention, through your focus, you can begin to turn it away from the ground and point it upwards, towards the cosmos. When you focus on gratitude, you are tilting the dish. When you engage in acts of kindness, you are tilting the dish. When you spend time in nature, in awe of its beauty, you are tilting the dish. When you sit in silence and listen for the space between your thoughts, you are pointing your receiver directly at the stars. And what happens when the dish is properly aligned? It begins to receive a different quality of signal. It picks up the frequency of insight. It receives flashes of intuition, sudden knowings that bypass logic entirely. It downloads creative ideas that feel far grander than your personal self. It tunes into the frequency of peace, a profound sense of well-being that is not dependent on external circumstances. You are no longer limited to the information stored in the hard drive of your personal brain. You are now connected to the cloud of cosmic intelligence. This is the state where true genius operates. This is the state Tesla was cultivating. He was not just a brilliant engineer, he was a master listener, a human who had learned how to point his magnificent receiver at the heart of the universe and faithfully transcribe the signals he received. So release yourself from the prison of being a generator. You do not have to carry that weight. Your brilliance is not measured by what you can produce, but by your ability to receive. Your task is to become a clear channel. Your work is to clean your antenna of the rust of resentment and the dust of fear. Your discipline is to practice turning your attention away from the static and towards the silent, waiting signal. Trust that the answers you seek already exist. The inspiration you crave is already being broadcast. The peace you long for is the baseline frequency of the universe itself. Stop trying to write the music. Just learn to tune the radio. You have begun to understand your brain not as a frantic generator, but as a silent, sensitive receiver. You have accepted that the answers, the inspiration, and the peace you seek are not things you must create, but frequencies you must learn to tune into. This realization brings a profound sense of relief, but it also reveals a formidable obstacle. For an antenna to receive a clear signal, it requires a clean environment. It cannot be placed in the middle of an electrical storm or surrounded by a wall of competing transmissions. It needs space. It needs stillness. And this brings us to one of the deepest fears of the modern human, the fear of being alone. We live in a civilization that is terrified of solitude. We have become masters of filling every conceivable moment with noise, with distraction, with the endless scroll of other people's lives. The moment a gap of silence appears, we rush to plug it with a podcast, with music, with a phone call, with the television's empty chatter. We have been conditioned to believe that to be alone is to be lonely, that an empty schedule is a sign of an empty life. The silence makes us anxious. The stillness makes us restless. We fear that if we stop moving, stop consuming, stop connecting, we will be forced to face a terrifying inner void, an emptiness we cannot bear. This fear is the single greatest source of interference for your celestial receiver. You cannot hear the symphony of the universe if you are standing in the middle of a screaming crowd, and for most of us, that screaming crowd is the one we have invited into our own minds. Here we must make a crucial, life-altering distinction, the distinction between loneliness and solitude. They are not the same. In fact, they are polar opposites. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is the painful awareness of the absence of others. It is a hunger for connection that comes from a feeling of inner insufficiency. It is a state of poverty. Solitude, however, is a state of richness. It is the joyous awareness of the presence of oneself. It is not an absence, but a profound and overflowing presence. It is a sanctuary where you can finally hear your own thoughts, feel your own feelings, and connect with the deep, silent core of your being without the distortion of outside opinion. Loneliness is a prison. Solitude is a throne. Why then does the ego fight so hard against it? Because the ego is a social construct. Its identity is woven from your relationships, your job title, your accomplishments, your history, the way others see you. It exists only in relation to something outside of itself. In the sacred space of solitude, there is no one to perform for, there is no one to impress, there are no roles to play. Stripped of these external mirrors, the ego panics. It fears it will dissolve, that it will be revealed as the collection of conditioned patterns it truly is. And so, it generates its most powerful static. It will tell you that you are being selfish. It will whisper that you are falling behind, that others are getting ahead while you are doing nothing. It will magnify your anxieties and replay your regrets, all in a desperate attempt to lure your attention back into its familiar, noisy games and away from the vast, silent power that solitude reveals. Look again to the life of Tesla. His laboratory was not just a physical space filled with wires and coils. His true laboratory, the place where his most revolutionary ideas were born, was the vast and silent cathedral of his own mind, a space he cultivated through deliberate and extended periods of solitude. He understood, on an instinctual level, that to receive a signal from the cosmos, he had to first silence the noise of the world. He had to create an environment of such profound inner quiet that the subtle whispers of universal intelligence could be heard, not as faint guesses, but as clear and undeniable truths. Solitude was not a sacrifice for his work. It was the absolute prerequisite for it. It was the fertile darkness in which the seeds of lightning could germinate. When you dare to embrace solitude, you begin an alchemical process. At first, it may feel uncomfortable as the toxins of your mental habits rise to the surface. The restlessness, the anxiety, the phantom itch to check your phone. This is the withdrawal from the drug of distraction. But if you can sit with this discomfort, if you can breathe through it without acting on it, something miraculous begins to happen. The muddy water begins to clear. The screaming voices of the ego begin to lose their power, revealed as mere phantoms. And in the growing silence, you begin to hear something new. You hear the quiet, steady voice of your intuition, the part of you that has been drowned out for years. You begin to feel the rhythm of your own energy, separate from the frantic pulse of the collective. Wounds you didn't even know you were carrying may surface, not to haunt you, but to be seen with compassion and finally allowed to heal in the gentle light of your own awareness. This is the alchemy. Solitude dissolves the false and reveals the true. It strips away the persona and introduces you to the soul. It is not an emptiness to be feared, but a presence to be explored. So how do you begin? You do not need to retreat to a cave. You begin by creating small, sacred, and non-negotiable appointments with solitude. Start with just 10 minutes. Find a space where you will not be interrupted. And the only rule is this: no external input. No phone, no book, no music, no tasks. You can sit in a chair, lie on the floor, or walk slowly in nature. Your purpose is not to accomplish anything. It is not even to meditate in a formal sense. Your purpose is simply to be with yourself, as you are. During this time, You will watch the mind's frantic attempts to escape. You will feel the pull of habit. Simply observe it. Let the desire to be distracted be just another cloud passing in the sky of your awareness. The goal is not to have a good or peaceful session. The goal is to show up. It is the act of carving out this space that sends a powerful message to the universe and to your own subconscious. I am worthy of my own undivided attention. I am ready to listen. Imagine your mind is a grand hall, a beautiful room that is rightfully yours. But for years, you have allowed it to be filled with noisy, chaotic guests. The guest of public opinion is shouting in one corner. The guest of past regrets is weeping loudly by the window. The guest of future anxieties is pacing nervously by the door. The room is so full and so loud that you cannot hear yourself think. You have forgotten the feel of your own home. Solitude is the gentle but firm act of saying, "Thank you all for coming, but visiting hours are over." One by one, you politely but resolutely show the guests to the door. You are not banishing them forever. You are simply reclaiming your space. And when the last guest has left and you close the door for the first time in a long time, there is silence. It might feel strange, even deafening at first, but then you begin to notice things you never could before. You notice the way the light falls through the window. You hear the gentle hum of the house itself. You can feel the solid floor beneath your feet. And then you might open a window, and for the first time, you can hear the subtle, beautiful sound of the wind whispering through the trees outside. That wind is the voice of the universe. You could never hear it before because of the noise inside the room. This is the power of solitude. It is not an escape from life. It is a courageous return to the source of life. It is the essential act of clearing the space around your antenna so that it can do what it was designed to do. Receive the clear, powerful, and loving broadcast of truth that is perpetually flowing towards you. Do not fear the silence. It is not empty. It is full of everything you have been looking for. You have carved out a sanctuary of solitude. You have learned to sit in the quiet room of your own being, allowing the noisy guests of the world to depart. In this newfound stillness, your receiver is clear. You can sense the subtle frequencies of the universe. Now, a new question emerges. What do we do in this sacred space? Do we simply wait for lightning to strike? Do we remain a passive listener forever? Here, in the sanctum of the self, we move from reception to active creation. We learn to use the most powerful and most misunderstood technology in existence, the human imagination. From a very young age, we are taught to be suspicious of our imagination. As children, it is our natural habitat. We build kingdoms in the backyard, converse with unseen friends, and explore galaxies from beneath our bedsheets. In childhood, the boundary between the inner and outer world is fluid, magical, and alive with possibility. But as we grow, we are slowly conditioned to shut this faculty down. We are told to get our heads out of the clouds. We are taught to be realistic, which is a code word for focusing exclusively on what already exists, on the limitations of the present moment, on the hard evidence of the five senses. Imagination becomes relegated to the realm of fantasy, of childish daydreaming, frivolous escape from the serious business of life. This is perhaps the greatest theft ever perpetrated upon the human spirit. For the imagination is not an escape from reality. The imagination is the womb of reality. It is the genesis of all creation. Every chair, every building, every symphony, every peacemaking treaty first existed as a pure, focused thought, an image held within a human mind. There is no greater testament to this power than Nikola Tesla. His process was not one of idle daydreaming. It was one of disciplined, rigorous, and astonishingly vivid creation within what he called his inner laboratory. He did not tinker with prototypes in the clumsy trial-and-error fashion of his contemporaries. Before a single piece of metal was cut or a single wire was wound, the entire machine was fully built, tested, and perfected within the holographic theater of his mind. He claimed he could see his inventions in his imagination with such clarity that they were indistinguishable from physical objects. He would see the gleam of light on the polished copper. He would hear the precise hum of the alternating current. He would mentally test the device, let it run for weeks, observe any points of wear, and make precise adjustments, all without lifting a finger in the physical world. By the time he moved to construction, the project was not an experiment. It was simply the transcription of a reality that had already been perfected in a higher dimension. What Tesla was doing was not magic. He was wielding a fundamental law of the universe. He understood that concentrated thought, charged with the power of clear vision, is the most potent organizational force in existence. When you hold a clear, stable image in your mind, you are creating a coherent energetic blueprint. You are creating a stable frequency, a pattern in the quantum field. The universe, in its very nature, seeks to match energy with form. It is constantly arranging itself in response to dominant vibrational patterns. The problem is that for most people, the mind is a chaotic storm of conflicting, fleeting, and unfocused thoughts, a mess of garbled blueprints. There is no clear signal, no stable pattern for the universe to lock onto. It's like sending 1,000 contradictory orders to a construction crew. The result is chaos or nothing at all. The practice of visualization, therefore, is the art of creating a single, clear, unwavering blueprint and holding it with focus and intention until the universe has no choice but to build it. But here we must introduce the most vital component, the element that turns a static blueprint into a living creation. It is not enough to simply see an image in your mind. You must infuse that image with feeling. You must inhabit it with your entire being. The feeling, the emotion, is the power that amplifies your signal. It is the electricity that flows through the blueprint, making it magnetic, making it real. A mental image without feeling is a powerless sketch. A mental image charged with the feeling of love, of gratitude, of joy, of relief that is a creative vortex that begins to bend reality around itself. The language of the mind is the image. The language of the universe is feeling. To manifest, you must speak both languages fluently. Let us make this a tangible practice. Let us build our own inner laboratory. I call this the mental cinema. Once you have entered your state of quiet solitude, I want you to construct a short, simple scene in your mind. This scene should not be about the process of getting what you want, but a scene that implies your desire is already an accomplished fact. If you desire abundance, do not visualize a check arriving in the mail. Instead, visualize a scene where you are walking with a loved one, feeling the profound, calm, and secure feeling of total financial peace. If you desire healing, do not visualize the process of recovery. Visualize yourself in the future, running on a beach or laughing with friends, feeling the vibrant, joyful energy of a completely healthy body. Now, step into this scene. Do not watch it as if on a screen. Become the actor. See through your own eyes. What do you see? Look at the colors, the details. Are you indoors or outdoors? Who is with you? Look at their smiling face. What do you hear? The sound of their voice, the crashing of waves, the laughter of your own healthy self. What do you smell? The salt in the air, the scent of a celebratory meal. And most important of all, how do you feel? This is the key. You must generate the feeling within your body, right now. Do not imagine feeling it in the future. Feel it in this present moment. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude bubbling up in your chest. Feel the serene peace in your solar plexus. Feel the joy radiating through your limbs. Dwell in this feeling. Amplify it. Let it become your dominant state of being, even if only for a few minutes. This feeling is the prayer that has already been answered. Think of it this way. Your imagination plants a seed. This seed is a thought, a desire. In its dormant state, it is just a potentiality. The soil is the universal field, the quantum reality, fertile and ready. The water that causes the seed to germinate and grow is your feeling. Your emotion is the living water that activates the seed's potential. When you consistently water this seed of desire with the pure water of gratitude and joy, as if it has already grown, you are commanding it to sprout. You are giving it the precise energetic ingredients it needs to organize matter and emerge from the unseen world into the world of form. You are not willing it to happen through force. You are loving it into existence. This is the power you were born with. This is the faculty that has been asleep within you. This is not about fooling yourself or engaging in wishful thinking. It is a focused, disciplined act of creation. It is the work of an architect of reality. You are aligning your personal energy with the universal laws of creation. You are moving from being a creature of circumstance to a creator of circumstance. So, enter your laboratory. The door is open. The tools are within you. Do not be afraid of the power of your own mind. It is divine. It is potent. Everything you see around you was once just an idea, an image held in a mind. Now, it is your turn. What new reality will you dare to imagine? What beautiful world will you build first within the sacred, silent laboratory of your own soul? You have stood in the silent laboratory of your mind. You have dared to project a reality more beautiful, more whole, and more vibrant than the one your senses currently report. You have seen it, felt it, and tasted its truth. This vision is a beacon, a star to navigate by. But as you return from this inner world, your beacon in hand, you encounter the dense atmosphere of daily life. The vision, so clear and luminous in the stillness of your solitude, now seems distant. The gravity of old habits, the inertia of procrastination, and the siren song of comfort pull at you. This is the critical juncture where the most beautiful dreams dissolve into morning mist. It is the gap between the vision and the reality, and bridging this gap requires the most misunderstood and resisted force in personal transformation: discipline. Listen to how that word lands in your body. Discipline. For most of us, it arrives with the cold weight of obligation. It feels like a cage, a punishment, a denial of freedom. It conjures images of harsh schoolmasters, of joyless self-denial, of a life stripped of spontaneity and pleasure. The ego, your habituated mind, despises this word. It will tell you that discipline is the enemy of creativity, that structure stifles flow, that you must wait until you feel inspired or feel motivated to act. This is one of the most clever and debilitating lies the ego tells, for it ensures that you remain forever a slave to the fleeting whims of mood and emotion. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of starting and stopping, of passionate beginnings that fizzle into disappointed endings. It keeps your great potential locked away in the stagnant swamp of someday. We must reclaim this word. We must strip it of its oppressive connotations and see it for what it truly is. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is the architect of freedom. It is not a cage. It is the key. The undisciplined mind is not free. It is a slave to every passing impulse, every distraction, every low-frequency mood that drifts by. The person who only works when they feel motivated is not free. They are a prisoner of their own emotional weather patterns. True freedom is the ability to choose your destination and then, through your own will, to align your actions with that choice, day after day, regardless of the storm or the calm. True freedom is the power to become the person you have envisioned yourself to be, and that power is forged in the gentle, steady fire of daily discipline. Let us use a metaphor. Imagine your potential, your vision, your life force is a vast body of water. Without discipline, this water forms a swamp. It is rich with life, full of nutrients, and teeming with latent possibility. But it is stagnant, it is murky, it does not move, it has no direction. Over time, it breeds decay and confusion. It spreads out, becoming shallow and losing its power. This is the state of a life lived without the container of discipline, full of dreams and ideas, but lacking the focused power to make any real impact. Now, imagine we introduce two strong banks on either side of this swamp. These banks are discipline. They are the clear commitments and consistent actions you choose to adopt. What happens to the water? The scattered, stagnant potential is gathered together. It is channeled. It begins to move. A current is formed. The swamp is transformed into a river. At first, it may be a small stream, but with consistency, the channel deepens and the flow becomes more powerful. This river now has direction. It has force. It can carve canyons through mountains of resistance. It can generate immense energy. It can carry the seeds of your vision from the inner world and deposit them onto the fertile ground of physical reality. The water is not less free because it is in a river. It is more powerful, more purposeful, and more alive than it ever was as a swamp. Discipline does not limit your potential. It channels your potential into manifest power. How then do we build these riverbanks? The great mistake of our modern approach is to try and build a massive dam all at once. We make huge, sweeping resolutions on a Monday, full of intense motivation, only to abandon them by Wednesday when that initial emotional high has faded. This approach is a recipe for failure and reinforces the belief that we are undisciplined. The path of wisdom is different. It is the path of micro-discipline. You begin by choosing one single action, an action so small, so laughably easy, that it is virtually impossible to fail. The goal is not the action itself. The goal is to build the muscle of consistency. The goal is to prove to your own subconscious that you are a person who does what they say they will do. If your vision is to write a book, do not commit to writing for 2 hours a day. Commit to writing one sentence, just one. If your vision is to become a meditator, do not commit to an hour of silence. Commit to one conscious breath, just one. If your vision is to be physically fit, do not commit to 5 grueling workouts a week. Commit to doing one push-up or walking to the end of your driveway and back. The size of the action is irrelevant. The consistency is everything. When you perform this tiny, disciplined act, you cast a vote for your new identity. You are sending a signal to your deeper self and to the universe. I am a writer. I am a meditator. I am a person who cares for my body. Think of yourself as a sculptor standing before a great shapeless block of marble. The marble is your life. Your vision, the one you forged in your inner laboratory, is the finished statue you intend to create. How does the statue emerge? Not from one mighty blow, but from thousands upon thousands of small, deliberate, and precise taps of the chisel. Each tiny, disciplined action you take is one of those taps. A single tap seems to do nothing. 100 taps may show little visible change, but you trust the process. You show up every day, you pick up your tools, and you make your small, consistent taps. Over time, the form begins to emerge from the stone. The excess falls away. The true shape is revealed. Your discipline is the chisel in your hand, and your consistency is the loving patience with which you wield it. This is an act of profound self-love. It is not punishment. It is the declaration that you value your future self more than you value your present comfort. It is the act of aligning your mundane, daily reality with your highest, most sacred vision. Each time you choose to perform your small, disciplined act over the pull of distraction or lethargy, you are closing the gap between who you are and who you have chosen to become. You are weaving the golden thread of your intention into the fabric of time itself. So look at your grand vision, see its beauty, and feel its power. Now, choose your one tap of the chisel, choose your one act of micro-discipline. Let it be small enough to be kind, but do it with the consistency of a river flowing to the sea. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation is a fair-weather friend. Discipline is the companion that will walk with you through the storm. It is the current you create yourself, the steady force that will carry your boat out of the stagnant swamp and into the boundless ocean of your own becoming. You have stepped into your power. You have accessed the inner laboratory of your mind to forge a luminous vision for your life. You have embraced the current of discipline, transforming the stagnant swamp of potential into a flowing, purposeful river. You are doing the work. The banks of your river are strong. The water of your intention is moving with direction and force. And then it happens. You hit a rock. A massive, unforeseen boulder of resistance appears directly in your path. Perhaps it is a financial setback, a health challenge, a relationship conflict, or a creative project that grinds to a halt. The current of your progress slows, the water backs up, and chaos seems to ensue. In this moment, a familiar and insidious voice whispers in your ear, "This is a sign. You are on the wrong path. If this were meant to be, it would be easy." This belief, the belief in a frictionless path, is one of the most subtle and powerful saboteurs of human growth. We have been sold a spiritual fantasy, a daydream of a life where, once we are aligned, the universe rolls out a red carpet before us. We imagine a life of perpetual green lights, of effortless manifestation, where every door opens magically before we touch it. And so, when we inevitably encounter the friction of reality, when our river hits the boulder, we interpret it as failure. We see it as a sign of the universe's disapproval, a cosmic no. We lose heart. We abandon our discipline, and we allow our once powerful river to divert back into the familiar, stagnant comfort of the swamp. This is a profound and tragic misunderstanding of the very nature of energy, growth, and creation. Today, we will dismantle this illusion. We will look directly into the heart of resistance and discover that it is not your enemy. It is your most powerful and necessary ally. Resistance is not the absence of flow. It is the prerequisite for power. It is not an obstacle on the path. It is the path itself. Let us look to the simple, immutable laws of the physical world, for they are a perfect mirror for the laws of the spirit. A sailboat cannot move in still air. It requires the resistance of the wind against its sails to push it across the water. A musician cannot produce a note on a violin by waving the bow in the air. They require the friction of the horsehair against the string to create the vibration that becomes beautiful music. A weightlifter cannot build muscle by lifting air. They need the unyielding resistance of the iron weights to tear down the muscle fibers so they can grow back stronger. In every one of these examples, progress is not just aided by resistance, it is utterly impossible without it. Now, think of electricity, the very force that so fascinated Tesla. An electrical current flowing through a thick copper wire with very little resistance produces almost no light and very little heat. It is a flow of pure, invisible potential. But what happens when you introduce a filament, a point of extreme resistance? The energy, in its struggle to pass through this constriction, is forced to transform. The invisible potential, when met with intense opposition, bursts forth as brilliant, luminous light. The resistance does not stop the electricity, it converts the electricity into illumination. Your life is this circuit. Your vision and discipline are the electrical current of your potential. The challenges, the setbacks, the boulders in your path, they are the filament. They are the crucibles designed to take your raw, unseen potential and alchemically transform it into visible, radiant light. The universe is not punishing you with its challenges, it is training you. The obstacles that appear in your life are not random acts of a cruel fate. They are a perfectly tailored curriculum designed by a loving, intelligent cosmos to forge you into the person capable of holding the very vision you have created. If you desire great strength, life will not hand you a certificate. It will present you with heavy things to lift. If you desire profound wisdom, life will not give you a book of quotes. It will confront you with complex problems to solve. If you desire unconditional love, life will not send you perfect people. It will place you among the imperfect, including yourself, and invite you to find the love within the flaws. The challenge is always a mirror of the next strength you are meant to embody. The practice then is to fundamentally change your relationship with difficulty. It begins by changing the questions you ask in the face of it. The ego, in its victimhood, asks, "Why is this happening to me?" This question is a black hole. It generates feelings of powerlessness, resentment, and self-pity. It is a question that leads nowhere. The soul, the student of life, asks a different set of questions entirely. When the boulder appears in your river, you must learn to pause, to breathe, and to ask with genuine curiosity, "What is this here to teach me? What quality is this situation forcing me to develop within myself? Is it patience? Is it courage? Is it resourcefulness? Is it forgiveness? Is it trust in a larger process? And the most powerful question of all, what strength is being forged in me right now by the pressure of this experience?" When you ask these questions, you are performing an act of spiritual alchemy. You are transforming a curse into a curriculum. You are shifting your identity from that of a victim being battered by the waves to that of a master surfer, using the power of the wave to move with grace and skill. You are no longer fighting the river. You are learning to read its currents and navigate its challenges. Imagine you are trying to fly a kite. You take it out on a perfectly still, calm day. You can run and run, but the kite will only drag along the ground behind you. It is a frustrating, fruitless endeavor. Now, imagine you take the same kite out on a day with a strong, gusting wind. The wind pushes against the kite. It resists it. It feels like a struggle to even hold onto it. But as you let out the string, this very force of opposition, this headwind, is what lifts the kite into the air. The kite begins to climb, to dance, to soar. The stronger the wind pushing against it, the higher the kite can fly. Your spirit is this kite. The challenges and difficulties of your life are the necessary headwind. We spend so much of our lives praying for the wind to stop, when it is the very thing that gives us the power to ascend. Therefore, when resistance appears, do not despair. Do not curse the boulder in your path. Recognize it for what it is, a point of transformation. It is a gift. It is the universe's vote of confidence in you, a sign that you are ready for the next level of your own becoming. The friction is a sign that you are moving, not that you are failing. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It is the wrestling with the challenge that builds your spiritual muscle, that deepens your character, that polishes the diamond of your soul until it shines with an unbreakable light. So, embrace the friction. Bless the boulder. Give thanks for the headwind. They are not in the way. They are the way. They are the sacred fire of adversity, forging your potential into luminous, undeniable power. You have learned to stand firm in the face of resistance, to see the challenges in your path, not as cosmic punishments, but as the very friction necessary to transform your potential into light. This is a profound leap in consciousness. It frees you from the trap of seeing life as a series of random, unfortunate events. But as you navigate these currents, a deeper question of order begins to surface. If the challenges are not random, if the universe is not chaotic, then what is the law that governs the flow? What is the operating system that determines the experiences that come to you? This leads us to one of the most powerful and tragically misinterpreted concepts in all of spiritual thought: karma. For many, the word karma lands with a heavy thud of judgment. It has been twisted into a doctrine of cosmic retribution, a divine system of reward and punishment wielded by an unseen celestial scorekeeper. We imagine a great cosmic ledger in the sky where our good and bad deeds are tallied, with fortunes doled out to the virtuous and suffering inflicted upon the wicked. This interpretation, while seemingly moral, is a source of immense fear and spiritual paralysis. It turns us into timid souls, terrified of making a mistake, constantly looking over our shoulders for the karmic hammer to fall. It breeds a subtle arrogance in the fortunate, "I must have done something right," and a deep sense of victimhood in the suffering. What did I do to deserve this? This is not the law of karma. This is a human projection of our own primitive justice system onto the flawless mechanics of the cosmos. To understand the truth, we must wipe the slate clean and approach it not as theologians, but as physicists of consciousness. The word karma, in its original Sanskrit, has a beautifully simple meaning. It means action, deed, or work. That is all. It is not a moral judgment. It is a statement of mechanics. The law of karma is the spiritual equivalent of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It is the law of the echo, the principle of the mirror. It is the universe's fundamental feedback loop, ensuring that the energy you put forth into the system is the precise energy that is returned to you. It is not personal. It is not emotional. It is simply physics. The universe does not judge you. It only reflects you. Let us construct a more accurate metaphor than the judgmental scorekeeper. Imagine the universe is a vast, perfectly spherical room, and the inner walls are made of flawless, resonant mirrors. You are standing at the very center of this room. Every single thing you do is a cause, an action sent out into this space. Every thought you think is a silent word spoken into the room. Every feeling you cultivate is a color you splash onto the walls. Every physical act you perform is a motion you make. The law of the room, its immutable physics, is that everything you send out will be reflected back to you, perfectly, without distortion and without judgment. If you shout an angry word, the acoustics of the room will not return a gentle whisper. They will return the precise echo of your shout from all directions at once. If you extend your hand in a gesture of kindness, the mirrors will not show you a clenched fist. They will reflect back to you, from all sides, the image of an open, welcoming hand. If you fill your heart with the vibration of scarcity and fear, The room will resonate with that frequency, and the world you perceive through its walls will seem scarce and fearful. If you cultivate a state of gratitude and abundance, the entire room will begin to hum with that energy, and the reflection you experience will be one of plentiful grace. This is karma. It is the universe's perfect and impartial mirroring of your own state of being. This understanding is profoundly liberating, but it also confers a radical sense of responsibility. It means we can no longer see ourselves as victims of circumstance. The experiences of our lives are not being done to us, they are being reflected by us. The cosmic ledger is real, but it is not held by some external deity. The ledger is your own soul, your own energetic field. Every action, every word, every thought is an entry you make yourself. The universe simply balances the books. Here, we must go deeper. The law of karma operates on a much more subtle level than just our physical deeds. The true action is not the external event, but the internal intention and frequency behind it. You could donate $1 million to charity, an act that seems good. But if the intention behind it is to gain public acclaim, to feed your ego, or to manipulate others, then the primary energy you have broadcast is that of ego and manipulation. The universe, in its perfect reflection, will therefore bring you more experiences that revolve around ego and manipulation. Conversely, you could have no money to give, but sit in quiet meditation and send a pure, heartfelt thought of loving kindness to someone who is suffering. This subtle, unseen act is a powerful broadcast of high-frequency energy. The universe will faithfully reflect this back to you, bringing experiences of warmth, connection, and unexpected grace into your life. The cause is not the action. The cause is the consciousness behind the action. How do we work with this law consciously? We begin by becoming meticulous accountants of our own energy. I invite you to a practice of a daily karmic audit. At the end of each day, take a few moments in your solitude. Open the ledger of your day not with judgment, but with calm, clear-eyed awareness. Ask yourself, what energies did I broadcast today? What were my primary transactions? Did I make entries of patience or impatience? Did I send out frequencies of judgment or of compassion? Was the tone of my inner dialogue one of criticism or of kindness? Did I act from a place of fear or from a place of trust? Be honest, but be gentle. You are not looking for reasons to blame yourself. You are simply taking stock of the causes you have set in motion. In doing this, you will begin to see the direct correlation between your inner broadcasts and your outer experiences. You will see that on the days you broadcasted frustration, the world seemed to reflect back more frustrating events. On the days you consciously chose to broadcast peace, even in small ways, a sense of harmony seemed to follow you. The mirror does not lie. This also explains the seeming paradoxes of life. Why do bad things sometimes happen to good people? Why do dishonest people sometimes seem to prosper? Because we are only seeing a tiny fraction of the picture. We do not see the subtle karmic seeds they have planted through their thoughts and hidden intentions, perhaps even from lifetimes past. Furthermore, karma is not always instantaneous. It is like gardening. Some seeds sprout overnight. Others, like those of a great oak tree, may lie dormant for a long time before they begin to grow. Your job is not to judge the harvest in another person's garden. Your job is to tend to the seeds you are planting in your own, right here, right now. Trust that the law is absolute. A person planting seeds of deception may build a temporary shelter of wealth, but they cannot, by law, ever harvest the fruit of true, lasting peace. This is the ultimate empowerment. The law of karma does not condemn you to repeat the past. It guarantees that you can create a new future at any moment. The reflection you see in the mirror today is the result of the expression you were making yesterday. If you do not like the reflection, you do not argue with the mirror. You do not try to shatter it. That is the path of the victim. The path of the master is to take a breath, look into your own eyes, and consciously change your expression. You choose, in this moment, to generate a new cause. You choose a thought of forgiveness. You choose an act of generosity. You choose to feel gratitude for what you have. And you trust, with absolute faith in the law, that the mirror of the universe has no choice but to reflect that new beauty back to you. You are the cause, you are the action, you are the artist standing at the center of reality, and every moment is a fresh opportunity to create a masterpiece. You have faced the nature of resistance and embraced it as fuel. You have looked into the cosmic mirror and understood the impartial law of action and reaction that is karma. You now see that the primary causes in your life are the thoughts and intentions you cultivate within. Now, we arrive at the bridge where these silent internal causes are given form, where they are first released from the private world of the mind into the shared vibration of the universe. We arrive at the power of the spoken word. We treat our words so cheaply. We spill them throughout our days with little thought, like tossing loose change from our pockets. We use them to describe our current reality, to complain about our circumstances, to gossip, to criticize, to worry aloud. We believe we are simply describing the world as it is. But what if the world is, in fact, describing itself according to our words? What if our speech is not a passive commentary, but an active and perpetual act of creation? We use our words to give a detailed, moment-by-moment tour of the prison we find ourselves in, not realizing that the words themselves are the very bars of the cage. We speak our limitations into being, and then marvel at how limited we are. This is the unconscious spellcasting that keeps humanity trapped in cycles of suffering. To break this spell, we must understand what a word truly is. A word is not just a label, it is a vibrational event. It is a packet of energy, a specific frequency given shape and force by your breath and intention. When you speak, you are not merely making noise. You are striking a tuning fork and holding it up to the universe. The word chaos has a jagged, dissonant, and unstable frequency. The word peace has a smooth, coherent, and harmonious frequency. This is not poetry, it is physics. The sound of your voice is a physical wave that travels outwards, carrying the informational blueprint of the word's meaning, and it affects everything it touches, beginning with the 70% of your own body that is water. There is a fascinating field of science called cymatics, which offers a stunning visual demonstration of this principle. In cymatics experiments, a layer of sand or water is placed on a flat plate, and that plate is vibrated with a specific sound frequency. What happens is miraculous. The sound wave moves through the medium, and the seemingly chaotic particles of sand instantly arrange themselves into a precise and beautiful geometric pattern. A low frequency might create a simple circle. As the frequency rises, the patterns become breathtakingly complex, forming intricate mandalas and sacred geometric forms. The sound, the invisible vibration, is a creative force that organizes matter into a coherent shape. Now, consider this. Your life is a field of energy. Your body is a vessel of water. What geometric patterns are you constantly engraving upon the cells of your body and the energetic field of your life with the words you speak every day? When you repeatedly say, "I'm always struggling," you are vibrating your entire being with the dissonant frequency of struggle, creating a chaotic pattern. When you say, "I can never catch a break," you are casting an incantation of misfortune. When you look in the mirror and criticize your appearance, you are sending waves of disharmony directly into your own cellular structure. You are, through the science of cymatics, commanding your reality to take the shape of your dominant words. The most powerful and creative words in any language are these two: I am. Whatever follows these words is a declaration of truth to your subconscious mind and to the universe. They are the command that opens the door to creation. For years, you have likely been using them as a weapon against yourself. I am so tired. I am not good enough. I am broke. I am unlucky in love. Each of these statements is an affirmation. You are firming up, making solid, a reality you claim you do not want. You are striking the tuning fork of tiredness or lack and holding it there, forcing your entire reality to begin vibrating in sympathy with it. The conscious creator understands this process and chooses to wield it with deliberate, loving intent. This is the true art of affirmation. It is not, as skeptics claim, the act of lying to yourself. It is not standing in a storm and pretending the sun is shining. It is the act of standing in the storm and declaring, with unwavering conviction, I am the calm at the center of this storm. It is the act of choosing a higher truth and aligning your energy with it before it has fully manifested in your physical reality. You are not describing what is, you are commanding what will be. You are sending out the clear, coherent frequency of your desired reality so that the universe, like the sand on the plate, can begin to rearrange itself around your new, beautiful pattern. The practice then becomes one of conscious and creative language. It has two parts. The first is to stop the damage. It is to become a mindful gatekeeper of the words that leave your mouth. You must begin to catch yourself in the act of negative spellcasting. When you hear yourself complaining, stop. Complaining is the prayer you pray to the god of lack. It is a deep meditation on what is wrong. When you hear yourself speaking words of self-criticism, stop. Recognize that you are cursing the sacred vessel that carries you through this life. When you are tempted to gossip or speak ill of another, stop. Realize that you are broadcasting the frequency of separation and judgment, which can only, by law, return to you. The second part is to consciously plant the seeds of the reality you do want. This is the art of the true affirmation. It must be framed in the positive and spoken in the present tense. The universe does not process negatives very well. If you say, I don't want to be in debt, the universe just hears the loud, resonant frequency of debt. The more effective affirmation is, I am a vessel of abundance and prosperity. Money flows to me easily and freely. You are stating the reality you are choosing to create. And as with visualization, the word must be charged with feeling. Simply repeating a phrase mechanically has little power. You must feel the truth of it in your bones. When you say, I am radiant health and vibrant energy, you must take a moment to feel what that vibrant energy would actually feel like in your body. Let a wave of that feeling, even a small one, wash over you as you speak. The word is the arrow. The feeling is the force of the bow that sends it flying. Think of your tongue as the rudder of a great ship. The rudder is one of the smallest parts of the ship, yet it determines the vessel's entire direction. Your life is this great ship. Your words, though they seem small and fleeting, are the rudder that steers you. Day by day, with every complaint, every worry spoken aloud, every self-criticism, you may be turning your rudder, degree by tiny degree, towards the rocks. But today, you can take control of the helm. With every conscious statement of gratitude, every affirmation of your strength, every word of kindness spoken to yourself and others, you are turning the rudder, degree by tiny degree, towards the luminous horizon of your highest vision. The change may not be noticeable in an hour or a day, but over time, the consistent pressure on the rudder will have steered your entire life into a new and beautiful ocean of possibility. You are a creator. Your voice is not just for communication, it is an instrument of power. Your words are the chisels that sculpt your life. From this day forward, choose to speak with the intention of a master sculptor. Use your words not to describe the stone, but to reveal the masterpiece within. Bless your life with your language. Speak of your strengths. Affirm your dreams. Call forth the reality you wish to inhabit. And watch as the universe, your faithful servant, listens and obeys. You have learned to wield the creative power of your words, to speak your desired reality into the vibrational field of the universe. You are beginning to understand that your language is not a description, but a prescription. Yet, in our rush to master the power of sound, we often overlook its silent, potent twin. We have become so focused on the notes that we have forgotten that the music itself is born from the spaces between them. We arrive now at the most profound and active form of stillness, the pregnant pause. In our world, action is king. We worship at the altar of productivity. Our calendars are crammed, our days are scheduled down to the minute, and our minds are a relentless conveyor belt of tasks, plans, and strategies. We believe that to create, we must constantly be doing. To rest is to be lazy. To pause is to fall behind. We see a gap in our schedule as a vacuum to be filled, a moment of silence as an awkwardness to be broken. We have come to fear the pause, as if it were an enemy, an emptiness, a void. But the great mystics, the visionary artists, and the deepest thinkers throughout history understood a secret that our modern world has forgotten. The void is not empty. It is the womb of all creation. Look at the nature of music. What gives a melody its beauty, its emotional power, its ability to move the soul? It is not just the notes themselves. 1,000 notes played without pause, without rhythm, is not music. It is a cacophony. It is an assault on the senses. The beauty, the meaning, the very heart of the music lies in the silence between the notes. It is the pause that creates the rhythm. It is the rest that gives the following note its impact. It is the space that allows the symphony to breathe. The master musician is not only a master of sound, but a master of silence. Look to the cosmos. Our universe was not born from a state of fullness. According to both ancient wisdom and modern physics, it was born from a great void, a singularity, a moment of infinite potential, held in absolute stillness. The vast, dark emptiness of space is not nothing. It is the pregnant canvas that allows the light of 1 trillion stars to be seen. Without the vastness of that silent, dark backdrop, the celestial masterpiece would be invisible. The creation did not happen in spite of the void. It happened because of it. Now, bring this cosmic principle into your own body. Feel your own breath. You inhale, and your lungs fill with life. Then what? Before the exhale begins, there is a moment, a brief and sacred turning point of stillness. It is the pregnant pause at the peak of the breath. Then you exhale, releasing all that is spent. And before you draw your next breath, there is another pause, a moment of quiet surrender at the bottom. Your entire life, the rhythm of your very being, is sustained by these two small, silent gateways. In these pauses, you are not doing nothing. You are in a state of pure potential, the point of perfect balance between the inner and outer worlds. You are resetting your entire system. Life is not in the frantic gasping for air. It is in the graceful, trusting rhythm of the breath and its sacred, silent pauses. The ego, the part of you addicted to doing, resists this truth fiercely. When you attempt to pause, it will flood you with a sense of urgency. It will tell you that you are wasting precious time. It will remind you of all the things you should be doing. It does this because the ego's identity is tied to action and accomplishment. In the silence, in the pause of non-doing, it has no role to play. It feels its own dissolution, and it panics. It will try to convince you that creation is a relentless forward push, a battle against time. But the soul knows a deeper truth. Creation is a cyclical dance between action and stillness, between speaking and listening, between planting and waiting. Think of a farmer planting a seed. The farmer's action is to prepare the soil and place the seed within it. But then comes the most crucial part of the process, the waiting. The farmer cannot stand over the seed and shout at it to grow faster. They cannot dig it up every day to check on its progress. To do so would destroy it. The farmer must surrender to the pregnant pause of gestation. They must trust the dark, silent, unseen process happening beneath the soil. It is in this period of quiet waiting that the miracle occurs. The seed gathers its strength, cracks open its shell, and begins the slow, powerful work of becoming. The pause is not an absence of activity. It is a period of profound, invisible, and essential activity. How do we apply this in our own lives, amidst the clamor and the rush? You begin by cultivating an appreciation for the micro-pauses that already exist. You do not need to book a week-long silent retreat. You can start, right now, by embracing the spaces between. When you finish one task, before you immediately leap to the next, take one conscious breath. One. In that single breath, you create a space. You close one chapter and consciously open another, instead of letting your day be a single, frantic, run-on sentence. When you ask a question, whether of another person or of the universe itself, do not rush to fill the silence with your own answers. Hold the space. Wait. Listen. The most profound answers often arise from the silence, not from the noise of your own frantic thinking. When you are in a conversation and a lull occurs, resist the nervous urge to fill it with chatter. Simply allow the shared silence to be. It is often in these moments that a deeper, more authentic connection is forged. This practice is the vital partner to the work you did with visualization and affirmation. You have sent your signal out into the universe. You have spoken your intention. The pregnant pause is the act of putting down the transmitter and picking up the receiver. It is the act of listening for the echo. If you are constantly broadcasting, constantly talking, constantly doing, how can you ever hear the universe's reply? How can you notice the subtle synchronicities, the intuitive nudges, the quiet guidance it is always sending you? You must create the silence so that the whispers can be heard. Embrace the pause as a source of immense power. It is your point of recalibration. It is where you digest your experiences. It is where inspiration can finally find a crack to enter through. It is where your nervous system resets from the fight or flight mode of modern life back to its natural state of peaceful presence. The pause is not empty, it is full. It is pregnant with the seeds of your next inspired action, your next brilliant idea, your next moment of profound peace. It is the fertile soil of the soul. And by learning to rest in it, you are allowing the very things you have been striving for to finally, effortlessly, take root and grow. You have entered the sacred pause. You have created the silent space within which the subtle energies of the universe can finally be perceived. But as you sit in this newfound quiet, you become aware that you are not entirely alone. There are voices here, whispers, promptings, two distinct broadcasts playing on the radio of your soul. One is loud, insistent, and familiar. The other is quiet, gentle, and feels strangely ancient. For years, you have mistaken one for the other. And this confusion is the source of your most profound missteps, your deepest regrets, and your most painful detours. We have arrived at the most crucial act of discernment on the spiritual path, learning to distinguish the signal of your intuition from the noise of your ego. The ego is the voice of the conditioned self. It is the operating system that was installed in you from birth by your parents, your culture, your education, and your past experiences. It is not your enemy. It is a survival mechanism. Its primary function is to protect the fragile identity you have built, to keep you safe within the known boundaries of your past. And so, its voice is always colored by fear. It speaks the language of logic, of analysis, of pros and cons. It is a master strategist, constantly calculating risk and predicting failure based on past evidence. It lives exclusively in the past, which it uses to create anxiety about the future. The ego's voice is loud because it is insecure. It needs to shout to maintain its control. It will present you with worst-case scenarios, with rational-sounding arguments, and with the heavy weight of social expectation. It asks questions like, what will they think? What if you fail? Are you sure that's a good idea? It sounds risky, and the classic, who do you think you are? Then there is the other voice, the other broadcast. This is your intuition. It is not the voice of your conditioned mind. It is the voice of your higher self, your soul, your direct connection to the universal intelligence. It is the signal from the cosmos, received by the perfectly tuned antenna of your heart. Its nature is the polar opposite of the ego's. Intuition does not shout, it whispers. It does not argue or present logical proofs. It simply knows. It delivers its wisdom as a quiet certainty, a gut feeling, a gentle nudge, a sudden flash of insight that feels utterly true, even if it makes no logical sense. It does not speak in terms of fear or the past. It speaks from a place of profound peace and presence. It is a compass, not a calculator. It doesn't tell you all the steps on the map. It just points you in the direction of your true north, one step at a time. The great inner conflict, the crossroads where so many of us get lost, occurs when these two voices offer conflicting advice. Intuition might whisper, leave this job. It is draining your soul. The feeling is one of quiet, clear truth. But then, immediately, the ego will roar to life with its arsenal of fear. Leave your job? Are you insane? What about your mortgage? What about your health insurance? You have security here. You'll never find another job this good. That's irresponsible. The ego's argument sounds so logical, so sensible, so adult, that we betray the quiet whisper of our soul. We listen to the static because it is louder, and we choose the path of safety over the path of truth. And then, years later, we find ourselves in the same place, our souls even more depleted, wondering where we went wrong. We went wrong at the moment we chose the loud fear over the quiet knowing. Learning to discern between these two is the master skill of a life well lived. It is the art of separating the pure signal from the frantic noise. So how do we do it? We cannot think our way to the answer, because the ego is the master of thought. If you try to debate your ego, it will always win, for it wrote the rules of the debate. The key is to bypass the mind entirely and learn to listen with your body. Your body is a flawless lie detector. It cannot be fooled by the ego's clever arguments. It responds directly to the vibrational truth of a thought or a prompting. Here is the practice. I call it the body's compass. The next time you are faced with a decision or when a strong thought or idea presents itself, I want you to stop. Close your eyes, take a breath. Now, bring the thought or the choice into your awareness. Let's say the thought is the ego's voice. You shouldn't try that new project, you'll probably fail. As you hold that thought in your mind, scan your physical body. What sensations do you notice? Be specific. You will likely feel a contraction, a tightening in your throat, a knot in your stomach, a shallowness in your breath, a clamping down in your solar plexus. Your body feels smaller, denser, heavier. This feeling of contraction, of tension, of lessness is the unmistakable signature of the ego. It is the feeling of fear. It is your body's way of saying no. Now, let that thought go. Take another cleansing breath. Bring the intuitive whisper into your mind. Let's say it's the quiet voice that says, reach out to that person you haven't spoken to in years. This might seem scary to the mind, but hold the prompting, and again, scan your body. What do you feel now? Even if the idea is daunting, if it is true intuition, you will feel a sense of expansion. You might feel a warmth in your chest, a sudden release of breath you didn't realize you were holding, a feeling of lightness, of opening, of possibility. It might feel like a quiet yes resonating deep within you. This feeling of expansion, of peace, of moreness is the unmistakable signature of your intuition. It is the feeling of truth. It is your body's compass pointing you toward your highest path. Let us refine the metaphor we have been building. The ego is a frantic, insecure radio host inside your head. It has its own talk show, and it never stops broadcasting. It interrupts. It brings on callers who are full of fear and doubt. It plays loud, jarring commercials for things you don't need. And it constantly gives you the bad news of the traffic and the weather. Its signal is strong because it's broadcasting from right between your ears. Intuition, on the other hand, is like a massive, powerful lighthouse standing on a distant shore. It does not make a sound. It does not scream for your attention. It simply stands in its unshakable truth and sends out a steady, silent, powerful beam of light. Most of your life, you have been glued to the radio, mesmerized by the drama of the talk show. You have believed that the host's frantic voice is the only truth. The work of discernment is to consciously turn down the volume on that radio. You do not have to argue with the host or smash the radio. You simply lower the volume through your practices of solitude and silence. And as the inner noise subsides, you begin to notice something else. You catch a glimpse, out of the corner of your eye, of a steady light on the horizon. At first, it's faint, but you realize it's been there all along. You choose to turn your attention toward it. You choose to trust the silent, steady beam of the lighthouse over the loud, chaotic voice of the radio host. You learn to navigate your ship not by the shouting in the cabin, but by the constant, unwavering light in the distance. This is how you find your way home. You have learned to stand in the silent sanctuary of your own being, discerning the quiet, truthful signal of your intuition from the loud, fearful static of the ego. You now possess the compass. The question that follows is, how do we strengthen this connection? How do we amplify that subtle, intuitive signal so that it becomes not a fleeting whisper, but the clear and guiding melody of our lives? The answer is found in the most transformative and accessible spiritual practice available to humankind. It is the conscious cultivation of the frequency of gratitude. Like so many profound truths, the power of gratitude has been diluted by misconception. We have been taught to think of it as a polite formality, a simple thank you offered in response to a gift or a kindness. We see it as the end point of a transaction, a feeling that arises after we have received something we desire. We tell ourselves, I will be grateful when I get the new job, or I will feel gratitude when my body is healed, or I will be thankful when I find my perfect partner. This is the great misunderstanding, the reversal of universal law that keeps us locked in a state of perpetual seeking. We are waiting for the world to give us a reason to feel good, not realizing that the world is waiting for us to feel good to give us a reason. Gratitude is not a response, it is a cause. It is not a passive emotion, it is an active, vibrational state of being. It is the master frequency that attunes your entire existence to the channel of abundance, grace, and receiving. To understand this, we must look at the default setting of the untrained human mind. The mind is a magnificent survival tool, but its primary function is to scan for threats, problems, and deficiencies. It is a scarcity scanner. It constantly looks for what is wrong, what is missing, what could be dangerous. This is the static we have spoken of. It is the low, anxious frequency of not enough time, not enough money, not enough love, not enough safety. When you are operating from this frequency of lack, you are a vibrational match for more lack. By the immutable law of resonance, the universe can only deliver to you experiences that match your dominant vibration. Gratitude is the alchemical force that consciously and deliberately reverses this process. It is the act of withdrawing your attention from the illusion of what is missing and placing it squarely on the truth of what is present. When you choose to feel genuine gratitude, you are fundamentally altering your own physics. The frequency of fear and lack is contracted, jagged, and chaotic. The frequency of gratitude is expansive, coherent, and harmonious. This shift is not just a poetic idea, it is a biological reality. The feeling of gratitude has been shown to calm the nervous system, improve heart rate variability, and create a state of internal coherence that literally changes the electromagnetic field you radiate. You cease to be a beacon for problems and become a beacon for blessings. This is why gratitude is the ultimate amplifier. Imagine your intuition is a faint, beautiful radio station playing the music of your soul, but your receiver is surrounded by the loud static of your worries and your scarcity mindset. You can barely hear the music. The practice of gratitude is the act of reaching over and turning on a powerful amplifier, connected directly to that beautiful, quiet station. With each genuine moment of gratitude, you increase the volume of the music. The signal of peace, of joy, of intuitive knowing becomes stronger and clearer. The static of fear and lack doesn't necessarily disappear, but it is drowned out. It loses its power. You begin to live your life guided by the symphony, not the static. So how do we practice this in a way that is truly transformative? It must be more than a fleeting mental checklist. The mind can make lists, but the body is what feels the frequency. The practice is one of embodiment. I invite you to begin and end your day with this simple, sacred ritual. Find your quiet space, close your eyes, and then bring to mind 3 things for which you are genuinely grateful. At first, start with the simple and the obvious. Do not strain. Be grateful for the air entering your lungs, a gift you receive thousands of times a day without notice. Be grateful for the clean water you drink, for the roof over your head, for the simple fact that you woke up this morning. As you name each one, do not rush to the next. Linger with it. This is the crucial step. If you are grateful for the warmth of the sun on your skin, do not just think the thought, actually feel the memory of that warmth. Let the sensation of gratitude spread through your chest like a warm honey. Feel it in your cells. Embody the frequency of that blessing. The mind makes the list, but the heart generates the frequency. It is the feeling that does the work. As this practice becomes a habit, you can move to a deeper, more powerful level. You can begin to practice gratitude for the challenges. This is not an act of toxic positivity or denying your pain. It is an act of profound wisdom. You look back at a boulder that was once in your path, a difficulty you overcame, and you express gratitude not for the pain it caused in the moment, but for the strength it forged in you. You say, "I am grateful for that difficult experience because through it I discovered my own resilience. I am grateful for that heartbreak because it taught me the true meaning of compassion and opened my heart in a new way. I am grateful for that period of financial lack because it forced me to become resourceful and to trust the universe in a way I never had before." This is the ultimate alchemy. It takes the lead of your past suffering and transforms it into the gold of present wisdom. It rewires your past, turning a story of victimhood into a story of empowerment. Think of your life as a garden. Your desires and intentions are the seeds you plant. The soil of your life can be either rocky and barren or rich and fertile. A mindset of complaint, criticism, and lack is rocky soil. The seeds you plant there will struggle to grow. They will wither from a lack of energetic nourishment. A state of gratitude is the richest, most fertile loam imaginable. When you cultivate a daily practice of gratitude, you are enriching the very soil of your reality. The seeds of your intentions, when planted in this fertile ground, cannot help but flourish. You are creating the perfect energetic environment for miracles to take root. Gratitude is the language of grace. It is a declaration of trust in the universe. It is saying, through your feeling state, I see the good that is already here, and I know that more is on its way. It dissolves the illusion of separation and connects you to the endless flow of universal abundance. It is the simplest, most direct, and most powerful way to shift your entire reality, because it shifts you first. Do not treat it as a chore. Treat it as your highest privilege. It is the key that turns your being into a resonant magnet for all that is beautiful, all that is true, and all that is good. Choose this frequency. Choose it when you wake. Choose it in the middle of your day. Choose it as you fall asleep. Choose gratitude, and watch as your entire world gratefully rearranges itself to give you more to be grateful for. You have begun to cultivate the luminous, expansive frequency of gratitude. You are learning to tune your being to the key of abundance, amplifying the signals of joy and grace in your life. In this high, coherent state, you begin to feel a sense of lightness, of possibility, but you may also become aware of a counterforce, a deep, heavy, pulling sensation that seems to resist your ascent. It is like a magnificent hot air balloon, its basket filled with light and its flame burning brightly, yet it remains tethered to the ground by thick, heavy ropes. These ropes are your resentments, your grievances, your guilt. They are the anchors of unforgiveness, and no matter how much light you generate, you cannot truly soar until you are willing to cut them. We arrive at one of the most challenging and liberating acts of the human heart, the physics of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a word that carries immense baggage. The ego, the protector of our wounds, recoils at the very idea. Forgive them, it screams. After what they did? Never. That would be letting them win. That would be saying what they did was acceptable. We cling to our anger as a shield, believing it protects us. We hold on to our resentment like a debt we are owed, believing that our suffering somehow punishes the one who hurt us. We hug our grievances close, for they have become a core part of our story, our identity as the one who was wronged. This is the logic of the prison cell. We must understand this with absolute clarity. Unforgiveness is a poison you drink yourself, hoping the other person will die. It is a burning coal you clutch in your hand, intending to throw it, while only your own flesh is seared. The belief that your anger harms anyone but you is the master illusion that perpetuates suffering. Forgiveness is not a moral gift you bestow upon the person who hurt you. It is an act of radical self-interest. It is an act of profound energetic hygiene. It is the ultimate statement of, I value my own peace more than I value my story of pain. Let's examine this from the perspective of the vibrational universe you now understand. Every person, every event from your past that you hold in a state of resentment is connected to you by a thick, draining, energetic cord. It is a vibrational tether forged from the intense emotion of the original wound, and you are the one who actively maintains it every time you replay the story, every time you feel the sting of that old anger, every time you dwell on the injustice. This cord is a leak in your life force battery. It constantly siphons your precious energy into a black hole of the past. It keeps the low-frequency vibration of anger, betrayal, and victimhood active in your field right now. And because the universe can only mirror your dominant frequency, holding on to this unforgiveness is a magnetic invitation for more experiences of anger, betrayal, and injustice to enter your life. You are tethered to a painful past, and so you are destined to recreate it. Forgiveness is the act of taking a pair of golden scissors and cutting that energetic cord. It is not about condoning the other person's behavior. It is not about reconciling with them or even letting them back into your life. It is not about forgetting what happened. It is simply the conscious choice to withdraw your energy from that event. It is a declaration of energetic sovereignty. You are saying, what you did belongs to you. The pain you caused is a reflection of your own state of being at that time. I will no longer allow your energy to pollute my present moment. I reclaim my power. I cancel the debt. I release you from my world, and in doing so, I release myself. When you truly forgive, you are not letting the other person off the hook. You are letting yourself off the hook. You are freeing yourself from the exhausting, full-time job of being the warden of their past crimes. You are freeing up the immense amount of life force that was being used to sustain that old anger. And you can now reinvest that energy into building the beautiful future you have envisioned. This act of release is crucial for forgiving others, but there is often one person who is the hardest to forgive. There is one anchor that is heavier and more deeply embedded than any other. That is the anchor of self-blame. We hold on to guilt for our past mistakes, for the times we hurt others, for the choices we made out of ignorance or fear. We whip ourselves with the lashes of shame, believing that this self-flagellation is a noble act of atonement. But it is not. It is a slow and steady form of spiritual suicide. Holding guilt is affirming, moment after moment, I am unworthy, I am flawed, I am bad. And the universe, in its perfect impartiality, can only say, yes, and reflect back to you a reality that confirms your unworthiness. You must extend to yourself the same grace you would extend to others. The you who made that mistake in the past did so with the knowledge, the wisdom, and the level of consciousness they had at that time. You, from your current vantage point, know better, but they did not. To condemn your past self with your present awareness is a profound injustice. You must look back at that version of you not with condemnation, but with compassion. They were doing the best they could with the tools they had. Forgiving yourself is the act of cutting the cord to that old version of you, thanking them for the lessons they learned the hard way, and allowing yourself to be born anew in this present moment. So, how do we perform this sacred act of release? It often requires more than a simple decision. It requires a ritual, a ceremony to signal to every level of your being that you are letting go. I offer you this practice. Take a piece of paper and a pen. Write a letter to the person you intend to forgive, or to the past version of yourself. Do not censor it. This letter is for your eyes only. Pour onto the page all of it. The rage, the pain, the tears, the disappointment, the full, uncensored truth of your experience. Describe what happened and how it made you feel in raw detail. Hold nothing back. This is the lancing of the wound. When you feel there is nothing left to say, when the emotional charge has been transferred onto the paper, take a new paragraph and begin the act of release. Write the words, "For my own peace, for my own freedom, and for the health of my own soul. I now choose to forgive you. I release you. I cut the cord that binds us. I take back my energy, and I give you back yours. The debt is cleared. You are free, and I am free." Then, take this letter and, in a safe and controlled manner, burn it. As you watch the paper turn to smoke and ash, visualize the energetic cord that connected you to that person or event dissolving into light. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders. See the anchor rope snapping, and feel your ship beginning to drift free. If you cannot burn it, tear it into 1,000 tiny pieces and release it to the wind or bury it in the earth. The symbolic act is what matters. It is a powerful declaration to the universe and to your own soul that you are done, you are complete. What happens after? Forgiveness is not always a sudden flash of heavenly light. More often, it is a quiet, gentle sense of lightness. It is a space in your mind where there used to be a storm. It is a feeling of neutrality where there once was a white-hot charge. It is the peace that comes not from forgetting, but from no longer being fueled by the memory. It is the profound freedom of a ship finally sailing on the open ocean, no longer held back by the heavy weight of a past it has long since left behind. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of strength, the final clearing of your path, allowing you to move forward, light and free, into the brilliant reality that awaits you. You have done the courageous work of releasing the anchors. By embracing the physics of forgiveness, you have cut the heavy cords that tethered you to the ghosts of your past. Your ship is now free. It is no longer being dragged down by the weight of old grievances or the shame of past mistakes. It floats upon the vast ocean of potential, its sails full, its rudder true. But now, the most fundamental question arises: in which waters does this ship truly sail? We believe we are sailing in the great ocean of time, with the vast continent of the past behind us and the uncharted territory of the future ahead. But this, too, is an illusion, perhaps the most profound illusion of all. The only water that is real, the only ocean that truly exists, is the single, eternal, and infinitely deep drop of the present moment. Your mind is a time machine. It is a ghost that haunts two worlds, neither of which is real. It spends hours, days, years journeying back into the past, replaying old conversations, reliving old triumphs, and picking at the scabs of old wounds. It obsessively edits a movie that has already been shown, a script that can never be changed. Then, just as restlessly, it rockets forward into the future, a realm of pure fantasy. It rehearses conversations that may never happen, worries about catastrophes that will likely never occur, and builds elaborate dreams that it postpones actually living. Your consciousness, the very essence of you, is almost never here. It is a permanent exile from its own home, and all your power, all your creativity, and all your life are being lost in this frantic, fruitless time travel. The great masters of consciousness, from the ancient sages to modern visionaries like Eckhart Tolle, have all pointed to a single, liberating truth. The past is a memory trace stored in the mind. It is a ghost. The future is a mental projection, a thought form of what might be. It is a phantom. Neither has any power, any substance, or any reality outside of your own head. The only point of power you will ever have, the only moment where life actually happens, is now. The now is not a fleeting moment that rushes by on its way from the past to the future. The now is the eternal stage upon which the entire drama of time appears and disappears. It is the only reality there is. To grasp this is to change your life at its very foundation. Why is the now the ultimate point of power? Because it is the only point where your consciousness intersects with the universal field of energy. You cannot send out a vibration yesterday. You cannot create a new reality tomorrow. You can only choose your frequency, think a thought, feel an emotion, and take an action now. Your receiver is only online in the present moment. When you are lost in the past, you are just replaying old, distorted recordings. When you are lost in the future, you are just running simulations. It is only in the stillness of the now that you have a clear connection, able to receive the pure signal of intuition and broadcast the clear signal of your intention. Let us use a metaphor you can hold. Imagine your life is a motion picture. The past is the long trail of film that has already run through the projector, now coiled in a canister in the dark. The future is the film that has not yet been loaded. It exists only as a potential. You, the conscious creator, are standing in the projection booth. The only place you have any power, the only place where light passes through the film to create an image on the screen of reality, is in the single, focused frame that is currently sitting in the projector's gate. That single frame is the now. You cannot reach back into the canister and re-edit the past frames. You cannot leap ahead and act in the frames that are not yet here. All of your agency, all of your creative choice, exists in this one luminous frame. What image will you project in this moment? What light will you shine through it? This sounds profound, yet the mind immediately asks, but how? How do I stop this time-traveling machine? The answer is beautifully simple. You do not stop the mind by fighting it. You anchor yourself in a reality that is deeper and more real than thought. You anchor yourself in your senses. You bring your awareness out of the abstract world of thinking and into the tangible, living world of your body and its perceptions, right here, right now. Let us practice this together, in this very moment. I invite you to become still. As you listen to my voice, bring your attention to the feeling of your body. Feel the weight of it in the chair or on the floor. Feel the points of contact. Feel the subtle texture of the clothing against your skin. Do not think about these sensations, simply feel them. Welcome them. This is the reality of the now. Now, bring your awareness to the world of sound. Listen. Do not label the sounds as car, air conditioner, or bird. Just listen to the raw vibration of the soundscape around you, as if you were hearing for the first time. Hear the high sounds, the low sounds, the sounds that are close, and the sounds that are far away. Hear the silence underneath it all. You are not thinking. You are simply receiving the auditory reality of this present moment. Next, open your eyes and allow your gaze to rest upon a single object in your vicinity. A plant, a cup, a speck of dust on the table. Look at it as if you have no word for it. See its color, its shape, its texture. Notice the way light falls upon it. See its isness, its silent, dignified presence. You are not analyzing it. You are meeting it in the pure, wordless space of the now. Finally, bring your attention to the ultimate anchor, the one that is with you always, your breath. Feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, cool and fresh. Follow it down into your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion of your chest and abdomen, and then feel the release as you exhale, the warmth of the air as it leaves your body. The breath is never in the past or the future. It is always, unfailingly, now. If ever you feel lost in the storm of your mind, your breath is the anchor you can throw overboard to bring you back to the still harbor of the present moment. When you begin this practice, your mind will resist. It will tell you the now is boring. It will try to lure you away with a juicy memory or an urgent worry. This is its nature. Do not fight it. Simply notice the pull, and then gently, compassionately, guide your attention back to the breath, back to the feeling in your hands, back to the sounds in the room. Each time you do this, you are weakening the habit of mind wandering and strengthening the muscle of presence. In this space of presence, a miracle occurs. All psychological suffering which is distinct from physical pain requires time to exist. Regret needs a past. Anxiety needs a future. When you are intensely present in the now, the stories that create this suffering dissolve. The pain of a situation might still be a physical reality, but the mental narrative, the layer of suffering that you add to it, falls away. You find a deep well of peace that exists underneath the surface of your life's circumstances. This is your point of power. This is your sanctuary. This is your eternal home. The past is a ghost, the future a phantom. Do not give your precious life force to these illusions any longer. Make the practice of returning to the now the central pillar of your spiritual life. The more you inhabit this moment, the more life will reveal its magic to you. For it is only here, in the single luminous frame of the now, that you are truly alive. You are learning to inhabit the eternal stillness of the now. You have released the anchors of the past and quieted your anxieties about the future. You are present here, in the only moment that has ever truly existed. This presence is the ground of all being. And from this sacred ground, a new question begins to sprout. Now that I am here, what am I here for? What is my purpose? Our culture has turned this question into a source of immense anxiety. We have been taught that finding our purpose is like a grand and frantic treasure hunt. We believe it is a single, specific job title, a world-changing mission, or a lofty role that we must discover out there somewhere. We look for it in university degrees, in career paths, in the approval of others. We scroll through the lives of those who seem to have found their grand calling and feel a gnawing sense of inadequacy, a fear that we are purposeless, that we have missed our chance. This entire paradigm is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of what purpose truly is. Let us release this heavy burden. Your purpose is not something you must find, for you have never lost it. It is not a destination you must struggle to reach. It is not a role you must earn. Your purpose is something you already are. It is a quality of being that is encoded into the very fabric of your soul. Your purpose is your unique, unrepeatable, and essential resonant frequency. It is the specific note that only you can contribute to the cosmic symphony. You do not have to find your purpose. You have to tune to it. You have to allow it to express itself through you. Imagine the universe as a grand orchestra. It contains an infinite variety of instruments, each with its own unique timbre and range. There are the deep, resonant notes of the cellos, the soaring melodies of the violins, the steady, grounding rhythm of the drums, the ethereal shimmer of the harp. The purpose of the violin is not to become a drum. If the violin spent its life trying to create a percussive beat, it would be a frustrated and terrible drum, and the world would be deprived of its beautiful string melody. Its purpose is simply to be the most authentic and resonant violin it can possibly be. You are a unique instrument in this orchestra. You were born with a specific song encoded within you. Your life's work is not to look at the other instruments and try to copy their sound. Your work is to discover the nature of your own instrument and learn to play your own music, unapologetically and with joy. When you are doing this, you are on purpose. When you are trying to be something you are not, you create a life of dissonance, struggle, and exhaustion. So how do you discover the nature of your instrument? You do not need to go on a quest. You need to conduct a gentle inner inquiry. You must become an archaeologist of your own soul, brushing away the layers of societal conditioning, parental expectation, and fear that have buried your authentic nature. I invite you to ask yourself these questions, not with the pressure of finding an answer, but with the curiosity of a great explorer. First, what makes you forget time? Think of an activity so absorbing that when you are engaged in it, the hours melt away. The nagging voice of the ego goes silent. You are fully immersed, fully present. This is the state of flow, and it is one of the most powerful clues to your core resonance. For in that timeless state, you are not doing something so much as you are being something. Your soul is expressing itself without resistance. Second, what did you love to do as a child, before the world told you what was practical or valuable? Before you were taught to worry about careers and paychecks, what brought you pure, unadulterated joy? Was it drawing, building things, taking things apart, telling stories, being in nature, caring for animals? The passions of your childhood are often the purest expression of your soul's frequency before the static of the world interfered. They hold a vital key to the music you were born to play. Third, what topic or subject could you talk about or learn about for hours on end without becoming bored? What subject fills you with a natural, unforced passion and curiosity? This points to the intellectual channel through which your purpose loves to flow. And finally, the most important question of all, what activity leaves you feeling more energized after you have done it, not less? Our modern lives are filled with tasks that drain our batteries, but there are certain activities that, paradoxically, seem to generate their own energy. After you do them, you feel more alive, more vibrant, more yourself. Pay close attention to these things. They are not tasks, they are acts of alignment. They are moments when you are plugging directly into the infinite energy source of your own soul. The feeling of depletion is the body's signal that you are acting out of alignment with your true nature. The feeling of energized vitality is the unmistakable sign that you are on purpose. As you reflect on these questions, a theme will begin to emerge. It will likely not be a specific job title, it will be a quality of energy. Perhaps your resonance is teaching, healing, creating beauty, bringing order from chaos, connecting people, innovating, or nurturing. This core resonance is your true purpose. And the beautiful truth is that it can be expressed in 1,000 different ways in every moment of your life. If your resonance is healing, your purpose is not necessarily to become a doctor. You fulfill your purpose in the moment you offer a kind, listening ear to a friend in pain. You fulfill it when you nurture a sick plant back to health. You fulfill it when you bring a sense of calm into a tense meeting. If your resonance is creating beauty, you fulfill your purpose not only by painting a masterpiece, but by arranging flowers on your table, by choosing your clothes with care, by writing a single, elegant line of code. Do not postpone your purpose until you have the perfect job or circumstance. You are meant to broadcast your unique frequency right now from wherever you are. Your purpose is not a grand future event, it is a present moment practice. It is the energy you bring to washing the dishes. It is the intention behind the email you write. It is the quality of your presence as you walk through the world. When you live from this place of authentic resonance, you enter a state of profound power. Your energy becomes coherent and magnetic. The universe, which always responds to clarity, can finally receive a strong, true signal from you. And it will begin to bring you people, opportunities, and resources that are a perfect match for your unique song. You stop struggling against the current of life because you have become the current. This is the state of grace. This is the feeling of being carried by a force larger than yourself, simply because you have finally agreed to be yourself. So stop searching, stop striving, be still, and listen for the music that is already playing within you. That is your purpose. Your only task is to turn up the volume. You have begun the sacred work of tuning to your own unique resonance. By looking inward, you are discovering the music your soul was born to play, and you are starting to broadcast this authentic, coherent frequency into the world, moment by moment. A profound shift begins to occur when you do this. When you cease to send out a signal of confusion, need, and imitation, and begin to transmit the clear, powerful signal of your true self, the universe, which has been listening all along, begins to talk back. It responds, and its language is the subtle, magical, and unmistakable language of synchronicity. You have experienced this. You think of a long-lost friend for the first time in years, and minutes later, a message from them appears on your phone. You are grappling with a specific problem, and you overhear a conversation between strangers that contains the exact answer you need. You open a book to a random page, and your eyes fall upon a sentence that speaks directly to the core of your current situation. The rational mind, the ego, has been trained to dismiss these events. It calls them coincidence, chance, a statistical anomaly. It rushes to explain them away because the implications of them being real are terrifying to its desire for a predictable, controllable, and mechanistic world. For if these events are not random, it means there is a hidden intelligence at work. It means there is an unseen order. It means you are part of a dialogue with a living, breathing cosmos. Let us be clear. Coincidence is a random event without personal meaning. Synchronicity, a term first brought into the Western world by the great psychologist Carl Jung, is a meaningful coincidence. It is an event, or a series of events, that feels so perfectly and personally timed that it strikes you with a sense of wonder and awe. It feels like a wink from the universe, a private joke, a confirmation that you are seen, heard, and guided. This is the language of the flow state. It is the natural feedback system of a reality that is conspiring in your favor. To understand how this works, let us envision your life not as a battle, but as a dance. For much of our lives, we are clumsy dancers. We are stiff, we are resistant, we are trying to force our own steps upon our dance partner, the universe. We try to lead, we try to control the music, we step on our partner's toes. The dance feels awkward, frustrating, and full of struggle. This is the state of living out of alignment from the ego. But when you do the work you have been doing, when you quiet your mind, listen to your intuition, and begin to move with the rhythm of your own authentic purpose, you learn to relax. You learn to trust your partner. You stop trying to lead and instead enter into a state of graceful, co-creative flow. And in this dance, your partner begins to guide you in beautiful and unexpected ways. A synchronicity is the moment when the universe, your dance partner, perfectly spins you, dips you, or lifts you into a position you could never have reached on your own, at the exact right moment in the song. It feels magical, yet it is the most natural thing in the world for two partners who are dancing in perfect harmony. We can also look at this through another lens. Imagine that reality is a great and magnificent tapestry being woven on a cosmic loom. From our perspective, here on the underside, all we can see is a chaotic mess. We see tangled threads, random knots, colors that seem to clash, and patterns that make no sense. It looks accidental and confusing. This is our limited, three-dimensional view of life. But from the other side, from the perspective of the weaver, the universe itself, every single thread is perfectly placed. Every knot is essential. All the colors and patterns are combining to create a breathtaking masterpiece of infinite complexity and beauty. A synchronicity is a moment when a needle of golden thread from the top side of the tapestry pokes through to our side for just a second. In that moment, we get a fleeting glimpse of the grand hidden design. We see that the chaos is an illusion, that there is an intelligent, loving order holding it all together. When you begin to live from your core resonance, these glimpses become more and more frequent. You are sending out such a clear, coherent signal that the weaver can easily connect the corresponding threads of your life. You have a heartfelt desire to learn a new skill, and suddenly you meet the perfect teacher. You decide to embark on a new path, and the resources you need begin to appear from unexpected sources. You are broadcasting the frequency of your true self, and the law of resonance dictates that the universe must present you with people, information, and circumstances that match that frequency. Synchronicity is simply the name we give to the law of resonance when it becomes astonishingly obvious. To cultivate this magical dialogue, you must learn to honor it. You must become a student of the universe's language. I invite you to begin a simple but profoundly powerful practice. Keep a synchronicity journal, get a small notebook, and dedicate it to this purpose. Every time one of these meaningful coincidences occurs, write it down. Note the date, the event, and most importantly, the feeling of awe or meaning it produced in you. This practice does three things. First, it is an act of gratitude and acknowledgement. You are telling the universe, I see what you did there. I'm paying attention. Thank you. This act of honoring the communication encourages more of it. Second, it trains your own mind to look for these events. Your brain contains a network called the reticular activating system, which acts as a filter for your attention. When you decide something is important, it will start to point it out to you everywhere. By keeping a journal, you are telling your own brain, this is important, show me more, and it will. Third, on days when you feel lost or disconnected, you can read through your journal and be reminded of the tangible, undeniable evidence that you are, in fact, part of a magical dance, guided by a hidden hand. Do not try to force these events. Simply set the intention to notice them. They are the universe's response to your authenticity. They are the loving confirmation that you are on the right path. They are the breadcrumbs on the trail leading you home. Expect them, welcome them. When they happen, smile. Let the wonder of it fill you. You are not a lonely soul wandering through a random, meaningless cosmos. You are a dancer, engaged in a beautiful and intimate waltz with an intelligent, responsive, and loving partner who is constantly whispering to you, not in words, but in the perfect, graceful timing of everything. You are beginning to feel the rhythm of the cosmic dance. As you broadcast the clear, authentic signal of your purpose, the universe responds with the magical language of synchronicity. You catch the winks, you follow the breadcrumbs, and you feel yourself being guided by an unseen intelligence. A natural human impulse arises from this exhilarating experience, the desire to have more of it. We think, this is working. Now, how can I control it? How can I make it happen faster? How can I ensure I get the exact outcome I want? And in this very impulse, we risk undoing all our good work. In our eagerness to grasp the magic, we clench our fists and crush it. We have arrived at the most subtle, paradoxical, and potent principle in the art of creation, the sacred act of detachment. The ego believes that, to achieve a goal, one must exert maximum control. It insists on creating a detailed, step-by-step plan, on managing every variable, on forcing every outcome. It becomes intensely attached, not only to the desired destination, but to the exact road it believes it must take to get there. This is the mindset of white-knuckling your dreams. It is a state of profound tension, anxiety, and impatience. You constantly check for results. You become discouraged by delays. You try to manipulate people and circumstances to fit your rigid plan, and you are, in effect, strangling the very flow you wish to experience. Let us reframe this entire process with a simple metaphor. Imagine you have entered a magnificent cosmic restaurant. The menu contains every possible experience and reality. Your job, as the conscious creator, is to study this menu with clarity. This is the work of visualization and intention you have already learned. You decide what you truly desire. You call over the weight of the universe and you place your order with clarity, specificity, and feeling. I would like to experience a reality of vibrant health, joyful creativity, and loving relationships. Your order is placed. Your job is now done. Now, what is the mindset of trust? You lean back. You enjoy the music playing in the restaurant. You sip your water. You have a pleasant conversation with your companion. You trust that the master chefs in the cosmic kitchen have received your order and are preparing it with a skill far beyond your own. You trust that it will be delivered to you at the perfect moment. But what is the mindset of attachment? It is placing your order and then immediately running into the kitchen. You stand over the chef's shoulder, telling them how to chop the vegetables, questioning the temperature of the stove, and constantly asking, "Is it ready yet? How much longer?" You are creating stress, you are getting in the way, and you are demonstrating a profound lack of faith in the chef's ability. This anxious, needy, controlling energy is what most of us bring to the process of creation. It is the energy of attachment, and it is the single greatest blockage to receiving what you have asked for. We must make a critical distinction here. Detachment is not apathy. It is not carelessness or deciding you no longer want your desire. Apathy is low intention and low attachment. The stressful ego mind is high intention and high attachment. The state of grace, the state of the master creator, is the powerful combination of high, clear intention and low, trusting attachment. You hold the vision of your desired reality with fierce clarity in your heart, but you hold the details of its manifestation with an open and trusting hand. Why is this so critical from a vibrational standpoint? Because the energy of attachment is rooted in fear and lack. When you are desperately clinging to an outcome, you are, on a vibrational level, screaming to the universe, "I don't have this. I'm terrified I won't get this. I doubt this is actually working." This frequency of doubt and neediness is a form of resistance. It is a chaotic, low-frequency signal that cancels out the clear, high-frequency signal of your original intention. You are placing your order at the restaurant and then immediately calling the kitchen to cancel it with your worry. Detachment, on the other hand, is the frequency of supreme trust. It is a calm, peaceful, and knowing state. It is the energy that says, "I have done my part. I have planted the seed of my intention. I have watered it with my feeling and focus. Now, I trust the soil, the sun, and the rain to do their part. I know my desire is on its way to me, or something even better is coming. Therefore, I am at peace now." This calm, allowing, faithful vibration is the most magnetic force in the universe. It opens all the channels. It signals to the cosmic intelligence that you are ready to receive, and it allows the dance of synchronicity to unfold in the most magical and unexpected ways. The universe knows the fastest, most joyful, and most elegant path to your desire. Your ego's rigid plan is almost certainly not it. Detachment allows you to be led along this path of grace. The practice of detachment is the final and most important step in the creative process. After you have spent time in your inner laboratory, vividly imagining and feeling your wish fulfilled, you must perform a ritual of release. Imagine your desire as a beautiful, luminous sphere of light. Hold it in your hands, feel its reality, its joy, its perfection. Infuse it with all your love and gratitude. And then, open your hands and let it go. Watch it float upwards, like a weightless bubble, into the vast, intelligent mind of the universe. Surrender it, release it. Your work is done. Think of it like shooting an arrow. You choose your target with care, that is your intention. You pull back the bowstring with all your strength, feeling the tension and power that is the emotion and focus you bring to your vision. But then comes the most crucial moment. You must open your fingers. You must release. The moment the arrow has left the bow, you cannot run after it. You cannot steer it in mid-air. Your part of the job is complete. You must trust the physics of the universe, the trajectory you have set, to carry the arrow to its target. Clinging to the arrow after you have pulled back the bow ensures it will go nowhere. A powerful phrase to anchor this practice in your heart is this: I am manifesting this, or something better, for the highest good of all. Adding "or something better" is an act of profound humility and trust. It acknowledges that your small personal ego may not be able to conceive of the most magnificent outcome possible. It opens the door for the universe, with its infinite wisdom and perspective, to surprise and delight you, to deliver a blessing even grander than the one you asked for. So hold your vision, be unwavering in your what, but surrender the how, the when, the who. Place your order with the universe, and then have the faith to enjoy the music while your meal is being prepared. Fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. Find your joy in the present moment, knowing that your future is being impeccably arranged. This is the art of graceful creation. It is the final surrender that brings with it the ultimate power. It is the open hand that is capable of receiving everything. You have learned to dance with the universe, to trust its rhythm, and to release your desperate grip on outcomes. You are moving from a state of anxious control to one of graceful co-creation. In this new state of being, we can now approach one of the most enigmatic and powerful statements ever attributed to Nikola Tesla. He once said, with the weight of profound knowing, "If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe." For many, this statement is a curiosity, dismissed as a foray into mystical numerology, a footnote in the life of a scientific genius. But it was not a footnote, it was a headline. Tesla was not speaking of superstition or lucky numbers. He was pointing to a fundamental blueprint of creation, a divine geometry that governs the flow of energy from the unseen world of thought into the manifest world of form. The magnificence of 3, 6, and 9 is not in the numbers themselves, but in what they represent. The 3 sacred sequential stages of manifestation. You have already been learning the components of this process. Now we assemble them. Now we give you the key. Let us begin with the 3. 3 is the number of the spark, the divine trinity, the realm of pure potential and thought. It is the frequency of the mind, of imagination, of the initial blueprint. All creation, without exception, begins with this spark. It is the idea for the invention, the melody for the symphony, the vision for the new reality. This is the work you learn to do in your inner laboratory. When you sit in silence and dare to imagine a reality different from the one you currently see, you are operating at the frequency of the 3. You are creating the ethereal, energetic pattern, the divine blueprint. It is the first point of the creative triangle, pure, focused thought. It is the father, the mind, the principle of divine inspiration. It is potent, it is essential, but by itself, it remains in the heavens of the mind, an unmanifested dream. Next, we move to the 6. 6 is the number of the physical realm, of matter, of embodiment. It is the frequency of the heart, of powerful emotion, of bringing the heavenly blueprint down to earth. If 3 is the idea, 6 is the act of charging that idea with life force. This is the work you do when you don't just see your vision, but you feel it in every cell of your being. It is the gratitude, the joy, the relief, the passion that makes your blueprint magnetic. It turns a flat, 2-dimensional drawing into a 3-dimensional holographic reality in the quantum field. 6 is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the mother, the womb, the principle of divine nourishment that takes the seed of the idea and nurtures it with the rich soil of human emotion. Many people have a wonderful idea, a 3, but they fail to consistently charge it with the feeling of its reality, a 6, and so their creation remains a powerless fantasy. And now we arrive at the 9. Tesla spoke of the magnificence of all 3, but he often singled out the 9 as being on a different level entirely. In mathematics, 9 is a truly mystical number. Any number of digits multiplied by 9 will result in a number whose digits add up to 9. It is a number of wholeness, of completion, a symbol of a higher dimensional force that governs the physical world of 3 and 6. In our model of creation, 9 represents the final, crucial, and most spiritual stage of the process: release, surrender, and detachment. It is the transformation and completion of the cycle. It is the act of taking your fully charged creation, the 3 and the 6, and surrendering it to the wisdom of the universe. It is the ultimate act of trust we spoke of in the last chapter. You have done your part. You have created the idea and you have charged it with feeling. Now you release it, trusting the universal intelligence to handle the manifestation. 9 is the Holy Spirit, the divine process, the unseen hand that takes your co-creation and weaves it into the fabric of reality. Notice the geometry. 3 is the mind, 6 is the body, the material world. 9 is the spirit, hovering above them both, governing the outcome. When you are stuck in your head, just thinking and wishing, you are stuck at 3. When you are striving and forcing in the material world without a clear vision or higher trust, you are stuck at 6. The master creator consciously moves through the entire sequence, from mind, 3, through heart, 6, to spirit, 9. This divine code can be used as a practical tool, a daily ritual to focus your creative energy. It is a practice that can structure your entire day around the act of conscious creation. In the morning, upon waking, you will work with the energy of 3. Take your journal and write down your primary intention 3 times. As you write, your focus should be on the mental clarity of the idea. See it clearly. Define the what. This is the architect's work, solidifying the blueprint. In the middle of your day, you will work with the energy of 6. Find a quiet moment and write your same intention 6 times. This time, your focus is entirely different. As you write each word, your task is to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Embody the vibration. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the relief in your body. This is the alchemist's work, charging the blueprint with life. In the evening, before you sleep, you will work with the energy of 9. Write your intention 9 times. This is the most subtle and most powerful step. Your focus now is on release and completion. As you write, feel a profound sense of trust and detachment. Know that it is done. Feel the peace of having placed your order with the universe. Thank the universe for its fulfillment. You are not asking anymore. You are not striving anymore. You are surrendering your creation to a higher power for its final delivery. This is the mystic's work, the final act of faith. We can see this same natural progression in the growth of a plant. The 3 is the seed, a tiny, perfect blueprint containing the potential for the entire tree. The 6 is the process of germination and growth, the seed breaking open, pushing through the dark soil, wrestling with the elements, absorbing sunlight and water. It is the physical, often effortful, process of becoming. And the 9 is the fruit. The fruit appears only when the growing is done. And crucially, the fruit is a whole, complete, and separate thing. The tree does not cling to its fruit. It allows it to ripen and fall, trusting that it has fulfilled its purpose. The 9 is the completed manifestation, a perfect whole, born of the process but now existing on its own. This is the key to the universe that Tesla spoke of. It is not a complex equation or a secret technology. It is the elegant 3-step rhythm of all creation. Thought to emotion to surrender. Mind to body to spirit. Idea to embodiment to release. 3 to 6 negative 9. It is the divine dance. By understanding this code, you cease to be a person who is simply hoping for things to happen. You become a conscious participant in the divine geometry of reality. You learn to place your intention, to charge it with power, and then to release it with faith, allowing the magnificent, unseen forces of the universe to bring your vision into glorious, tangible form. You are not just living in the universe, you are creating with it, in perfect, resonant harmony. We have journeyed far. We have decoded the symphony of the universe, learned to tune our own divine instrument, and been gifted the very keys to the kingdom of creation. You have learned to see resistance as fuel, to understand karma as physics, to wield your words as incantations, and to harness the divine rhythm of 3, 6, and 9. All the tools are now in your hands. All the knowledge is now integrated into your awareness. And so, we arrive at the final threshold, the ultimate initiation. You can have all the tools in the world, but they are useless until you make the fundamental choice to pick them up and claim the title for which you were born. We arrive now at the final, great shift in identity, the choice to graduate from a victim of reality into its conscious co-author. For lifetimes, humanity has been hypnotized by a single, pervasive, and deeply disempowering story. It is the story of victimhood. It is the belief that life happens to us. We see ourselves as small, fragile beings tossed about on the stormy seas of circumstance. Our happiness, we believe, is determined by external forces. The actions of our parents, the state of the economy, the decisions of our government, the behavior of our partner, the diagnosis from our doctor. In this story, we are the effect, not the cause. We are the pawn, not the player. While this story may seem to bring a perverse comfort, the comfort of garnering sympathy, the justification for our inaction, the righteous anger that comes from being wrong-headed, is the most profound prison ever constructed, for its walls are built from our own disowned power. The spiritual path, in its entirety, leads to one single momentous declaration: I am responsible. This is not a confession of guilt. It is not an admission of fault. It is a reclamation of power. The word responsible simply means able to respond. When you blame another person or an external circumstance for your suffering, you are giving them the authority to write the story of your life. You are declaring that you are powerless to respond, that you are simply a character reacting to a plot that someone else has written. You are handing them the pen. The moment you declare, I am responsible for my experience of reality, you take the pen back. You must understand, the universe is a mirror. It does not create the image you see. It only reflects it perfectly and without judgment. To stand before the mirror of your life, to see a reflection of lack or loneliness or illness, and to blame the mirror is the definition of unconsciousness. The conscious creator does not argue with the reflection. They understand that the reflection is merely feedback. It is the result of the face they were making, the energy they were holding, the beliefs they were vibrating. If they do not like the image, they do not try to shatter the mirror. They change their own expression. You are the source of the reflection. This is the truth that can set you free. Every experience in your life has been drawn to you by the magnetic force of your own consciousness, your dominant state of being. The loving relationships are a reflection of the love you have cultivated within. The financial struggles are a reflection of deep-seated beliefs about scarcity or unworthiness. The peace you feel is a reflection of your own inner alignment. The chaos you experience is a reflection of your own inner turmoil. This is not a punishment. This is the beautiful, impersonal, and perfect law of creation at work. Life is not happening to you. Life is responding through you. Let us envision your life as a great canvas. When you were born, you were handed a brush and a limitless palette of colors. For many years, you may have painted unconsciously. Guided by fear, you painted with muddy browns and dark grays. Conditioned by the beliefs of others, you painted the shapes and forms they told you were acceptable. Now, you stand before this canvas. It is your life's work thus far. You may see parts of it that you do not like. You may see shadows of pain, strokes of anger, smudges of regret. The victim looks at this canvas and complains, "Look at this ugly painting. Look at what my parents did in this corner. Look at the mess my ex-partner made over here." They spend their life fixated on the parts of the painting they despise, giving a guided tour of their own misery. The conscious creator has a different response. They look at the same canvas. They acknowledge the shadows and the smudges, not with judgment, but with compassion, understanding they were painted from a place of unconsciousness. But they do not fixate on them, for they realize the most important truth. They are still holding the brush, and their palette is now filled with the most vibrant, luminous colors. Imaginable, the colors of gratitude, of forgiveness, of focused intention, of love. They understand that they cannot erase the past strokes, but they can always paint a new layer. They can transform the dark smudge into the shadow of a magnificent mountain. They can use the stroke of anger as the fiery energy of a rising sun. They do not reject their past. They integrate it into a new, more beautiful masterpiece. They pick up the brush of their attention, dip it in the color of a new choice, and they begin to paint, right now, in this present moment. This is your invitation. I ask you to take up this practice of rewriting your story. Choose an event or circumstance in your life around which you have built a strong identity as a victim, a story of betrayal, of failure, of injustice. For a moment, allow yourself to feel the old pain. Acknowledge its reality. And now, pick up the pen. Ask yourself the Creator's question: what was the hidden gift in this experience? What strength did I forge in that fire? What did I learn from this that has made me the wise, compassionate, and resilient person I am today? Retell the story from this new perspective. The story of the betrayal that broke me becomes the betrayal that taught me the unshakable value of my own self-worth. The story of the business failure that ruined me becomes the business failure that taught me invaluable lessons and set me on my true path. You are not denying the pain, you are honoring the growth that arose from it. You are recasting yourself as the hero of your own epic, not the casualty. This is the meaning of spiritual sovereignty. It is the final acceptance that you are not a leaf being blown about by the wind. You are the wind. You are the architect of your own experience. The universe is not a cruel and distant God to be feared and placated. It is your partner in creation. It is a field of infinite potential, waiting, always waiting, for the clear, coherent signal of your conscious choice. It does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are. So who are you? Will you continue to define yourself by the reflection of your past, by the unconscious creations of a person who did not know their own power? Or will you, today, in this moment, make the declaration that will change everything? The declaration that you are the author, the painter, the creator. The declaration that your past is a story you have learned from, not a sentence you are condemned to live. The choice is yours, the canvas is waiting, the pen is in your hand. And so, you stand at the precipice of a new world, a new self. The journey inward has been deep and transformative. You have walked through the fire of resistance and bathed in the waters of forgiveness. You have learned the language of your own intuition. You have stood in the silent, powerful projection booth of the now, consciously authoring your reality. You are no longer the lost and crackling radio, battered by the storms of a chaotic world. You are a finely tuned instrument, a resonant channel, a creator who knows their own power. You have gathered your light. But now comes the final, most profound question of all. What do you do with it? There is a subtle and powerful temptation at this stage of the journey. It is the temptation to build a fortress around your newfound peace. You have worked so hard to cultivate this inner sanctuary, this silent garden, and the world outside suddenly seems louder and crasser than ever before. The impulse is to protect your light, to hide it, to retreat from the world, lest its discordant energies tarnish your serenity. You may feel a desire to withdraw from old relationships, to avoid difficult situations, to create a perfect, quiet bubble where your high frequency will never be challenged. This is an understandable impulse, but it is the final test of the ego, dressed in the noble robes of self-preservation. It is the temptation to hoard your treasure. But the final stage of mastery is not to protect your light, it is to become the light. Let us return, one last time, to the vision of Nikola Tesla. His ultimate dream was not just a scientific curiosity, it was a vision of profound service. It was the great Wardenclyffe Tower. This was not a fortress designed to store energy. It was a magnificent antenna, a global transmitter, designed with one singular benevolent purpose: to broadcast free, limitless energy to the entire world, wirelessly, effortlessly, nourishing all of humanity from a single, benevolent source. The tower was not meant to hoard power. It was meant to give it away, so freely and completely that the very concept of energy scarcity would be rendered obsolete. You have built your own inner Wardenclyffe. Through your discipline, your focus, and your courage, you have tapped into the infinite, free energy of the cosmos. You have connected yourself to the source. The final stage of your journey is not to live alone in your beautiful tower, enjoying its light for yourself. It is to switch it on. It is to begin your own broadcast. It is to become a living, breathing source of free energy for the world. What does this mean in a practical sense? It does not mean you must become a preacher, a teacher, or a healer unless that is your unique resonance. It is something far more subtle and infinitely more powerful. Your broadcast is your being. It is the coherent, high-frequency field that you radiate simply by existing in a state of alignment. Your service to the world is the quality of your own consciousness. When you walk into a room filled with anxiety and tension, your own inner peace, the signal you are broadcasting acts as a powerful tuning fork. Without saying a word, your coherent energy field begins to influence the chaotic energy around you. It does not force it to change, but it offers it a more harmonious frequency to resonate with. Your calmness becomes a silent permission slip for others to find their own. Your presence becomes a sanctuary. When you are engaged in a conversation where others are spiraling into gossip, complaint, or fear the low-frequency static of the collective, your quiet non-participation, your refusal to feed the chaos, creates a powerful vacuum. You are not judging them. You are simply holding a different frequency. Your unwavering state of centeredness acts as a silent anchor, a point of stability that can subtly halt the downward spiral. You become the pause that allows a new choice to be made. When you go about your day, interacting with strangers, ordering a coffee, driving in traffic, and you do so from a place of presence and quiet gratitude rather than frantic, mindless haste, you are broadcasting ripples of grace into the collective field. You may never know the effect of a genuine smile offered to a stressed cashier or the patient wave you give to another driver. But these are not small acts. They are powerful transmissions. They are tiny, luminous broadcasts from your tower that momentarily disrupt the global hypnosis of stress and separation. This is the great secret of service. You do not have to burn yourself out trying to fix a broken world. You do not have to drain your own battery trying to give your energy away. This is the old paradigm. The new paradigm is to focus so intently on keeping your own connection to the infinite source so strong, so clear, so unwavering, that you become an overflowing fountain. You are not giving your limited supply of water away. You are so full that your overflow naturally and effortlessly nourishes the garden around you. This path requires a final surrender of the need for approval. As you begin to truly shine your light, as your frequency rises, some people in your life will not understand. Your new state of peace may be perceived as distance. Your refusal to engage in drama may be seen as arrogance. Your joy, which is not dependent on external validation, may be baffling to those who are still seeking it outside themselves. You must be willing to be misunderstood. Your job is not to dim your light to make others comfortable. Your job is to be the lighthouse. A lighthouse does not run up and down the coastline, chasing after ships and shouting instructions. It does not worry about which ships are noticing its beam and which are not. It does not feel rejected if a ship chooses to navigate by its own faulty compass. The lighthouse has one single, simple, and profound purpose. It anchors itself to the rock. It connects itself to its power source, and it shines, steadily, faithfully, unapologetically. It stands in its own truth and broadcasts its light into the darkness as a constant, unwavering offering. The ships that are looking for a way home will see it and be guided by it. The ships that are not will not. It is not the lighthouse's concern. Its only concern is to shine. You are that lighthouse. Your rock is your connection to the present moment. Your power source is your connection to the universe. Your light is the authentic, coherent frequency of your own soul. The broadcast has already begun. It began the moment you chose presence over distraction, love over fear, forgiveness over resentment. It grows stronger with every conscious breath you take. Do not worry about the scale of your impact. Do not strive to save the world. Simply be the peace you wish to see. Be the love you know is possible. Be the silent, steady, luminous presence in every room you enter. This is your work now. This is your gift. This is your ultimate purpose. You are no longer searching for power. You are the source. You are the sanctuary. You are the tower. Your light is on. The storm of the world has not ceased. The winds of chaos still blow. The demands of life still call. And the collective noise of fear still hums in the air. But you are no longer the frightened radio crackling with static in the heart of the tempest. Something fundamental has changed. The frantic search for a clear station is over. The dial has been tuned, not to a frequency outside of yourself, but to the deep, silent, unshakable frequency of your own soul. And from that still point, a new broadcast has begun. It is the calm, coherent music of your own being, a melody that does not fight the storm, but harmonizes with it, turning the chaos into a symphony. This journey has not been about adding something new to you. It has been a process of subtraction, of lovingly stripping away all that was not you. You have shed the heavy coats of past grievances and future anxieties. You have dismantled the illusion that you are a victim of circumstance. You have unlearned the lie that your power resides anywhere but within your own consciousness in this very moment. The limitless energy you were seeking was never in a secret technology or a distant spiritual realm. It was buried beneath the noise of your own unexamined mind. The secret doctrine of a mind like Tesla's was not a schematic for a device. It was a schematic for consciousness itself. And the blueprint for free energy, the map you have followed through this entire journey, does not lead to a tower of copper and steel. It leads to the mirror. It leads to you. The key to the universe, the source of all power, the answer to your deepest longing, is looking back at you from your own eyes. It has been there, waiting patiently through all of it. You are the architect. You are the author. You are the tower. Your blueprint was never lost. It was simply waiting to be read. Your energy was never finite. It was simply waiting to be unleashed. Do not look outside yourself for the light any longer. You have found its source. Now, go and broadcast your truth.